South Korea's president declares the apocalypse as a zombie-infested meteor slams into Japan, unleashing a wave of flesh-eating horrors. As global chaos erupts and society crumbles into panic, one survivor stands ready, while everyone else loses their minds. He has got an otherworldly bunker locked and loaded, and he has been itching to wreck some undead monstrosities for years. Meet our hero Song-ho. He was once a legendary pro in Sura, the most brutal survival game ever developed. The difficulty was so soul-crushing that nearly the entire player base rage quit forever. Even his own squad betrayed him, vanishing into thin air and never logging back in. Left as a solo streamer, he conquered every nightmare monster alone, refining his survival instincts to absolute perfection. Eventually, he hung up his headset and wiped his channel, trading boss fights for life as a humble chef. While serving a cute regular, he jokingly shouts "status window," only to freeze as a real hologram flickers into existence. A glowing blue interface reveals his stats mirroring the elite power levels from his hardcore gaming days. But there is a twist. He has unlocked a broken new skill called Private Portal. When he activates it, a massive warp gate tears open, sending his mind reeling from the terrifying possibilities. If the game mechanics are real, then that world-ending asteroid is officially on a collision course with humanity. Scrolling frantically, he finds news of the approaching meteor, desperate to believe this is not the game becoming reality. Staring at the shimmering gateway, the crushing truth hits home. The asteroid and this portal are undeniable proof. Something has gone horribly wrong with the fabric of existence. He hesitates, questioning if he should cross over with zero gear, no allies, and not a single penny. After a moment of deep reflection, he grabs the closest weapon available, a kitchen ladle. He pokes the utensil through the rift to test the terrain, scooping up a handful of mysterious soil. Relieved, he realizes he has not spawned into a death trap labyrinth. It is a win for his first exploration. Still, he wonders if this gateway will just drop him somewhere random on Earth. After packing his survival gear, he steels his resolve and finally steps through the threshold. On the other side, he is greeted by a breathtaking, untouched wilderness devoid of any human civilization. The biting cold hits him instantly, and he notices his phone signal has completely vanished into thin air. He is stranded in a dead zone where nobody will ever find him. If he is stuck, he is absolutely cooked. Smartly, he uses a marker to tag a tree with a 0, ensuring he has a way back. He pushes deep into the woods, but the trek quickly begins to drain his energy. The forest feels infinite and empty. Just as he prays for some action, a pair of eyes lock onto him. A predator lunges from the shadows, nearly scaring the life out of our poor protagonist. It is just a majestic valley deer, not a zombie. Suddenly, the system identifies the beast, proving this is not Earth. This world is governed by game logic, confirming he has officially entered an entirely different dimension. The creature stares him down before vanishing into the brush. It is not like he expected a conversation anyway. Even Song-ho finds it bizarre how quickly the animal just dipped. He is lucky the deer was chill, but things will get lethal if he encounters aggressive predators. Rabid boars or monstrous monkeys would be a total nightmare. Oddly, that deer never existed in Sura. This realm is clearly following its own survival rules. He gets a strong gut feeling that this place is a pure test of survival. Drawing his blade, he marches forward, ready for whatever jump scare the forest throws next. He has been in denial about the apocalypse, but then he finally spots it. A glowing sun apple hangs from a branch. He hesitates, wondering if this mystical fruit is actually edible. He takes a bite, and the system immediately confirms a massive boost to his stamina. A golden aura envelops his body, mirroring the effects of the legendary power-up juice from the game. This was the final nail in the coffin. A world-ending disaster is definitely about to strike. Then he spots goblin droppings nearby. Panic sets in. He needs to be extremely careful now. Taking a heavy breath, he prepares his soul. The end of the world is no longer a dream. Escaping the portal's surreal pull, Song-ho stepped back into reality. Immediately, his mind raced, mapping out a master plan. With the world's end looming, he hit the archives. First step, binge-watching every second of his past game footage. He locked it all in a private drive. Lucky for him, his history as a streamer meant every detail was recorded. Saving the data was easy, though he never imagined this kind of high-stakes use. Then the asteroid news broke. 32 days until Japan crumbles and the apocalypse begins. This was his window to prep for the ultimate survival. Sura was infamous for its brutal trash-tier mechanics. But one specific nightmare stood above the rest, the ultimate game-breaker. Meet the Iron Death disease. This terrifying plague instantly rusts and disintegrates every single scrap of metal on the planet. Cities crumbled to dust, leaving humanity defenseless against the rising zombie hordes. With metal gone, modern civilization was basically toast. Welcome back to the Stone Age. While the disease eventually fades, there's a massive catch that makes it a living hell. This metallic nightmare lasts a full year. But for Song-ho, this global catastrophe was just a minor inconvenience. Armed with his new trait, he had a private portal hack. He was betting everything on one crucial life-saving theory. That rust plague, it shouldn't be able to cross into his portal dimension. Analysis complete, it was time to move. He dropped his entire life savings on god-tier gear. Man was literally prepping for a real-life Call of Duty Zombies lobby. Survival supplies, checked. Tactical gear, secured. But scrolling through the forums that night, he saw the dark side of power. It was gut-wrenching to see awakened users already exploiting their powers for petty crimes and selfish kicks. Pure disappointment. Sunrise brought a new shopping spree for his survival mission. While heading home, he decided to add one more insurance policy. He snagged a hunting bow just to be safe. But amidst the hustle, a sudden wave of doubt hit him hard. Was he being paranoid? Was this all just an overreaction? He felt like he might be moving too fast. But even if he was wrong, money could be remade. Errands done, he headed back to lock down his base of operations. He flipped the close sign on his shop for good. Deep in thought, a familiar voice suddenly broke his concentration. A concerned neighbor asks why he's shutting down. He plays it cool, claiming it's just some major remodeling work. She wonders if he finally hit the jackpot. Unwilling to chat, Seong-ho cuts the conversation short and dips. Claiming he's busy, he tries to leave, but she hesitates, trying to ask something. The girl turns red and freezes up. Her request remains unspoken. Walking away, Seong-ho feels a flicker of curiosity about what she really wanted to say. He could have pressed for details, but honestly, he had way bigger fish to fry right now. Back inside, his resolve hardened. No more distractions. It was time to focus on what actually mattered for survival. Man literally said, "Ignore the girls, lock in." With a command, he opened the portal. Time to analyze his playstyle. He was a pure strategist, a playmaker who lived for outsmarting the stage. Raw power wasn't his thing. He was a brainiac. Intelligence was his greatest weapon. Why? Because in Sura, boosting your stats is an absolute nightmare of a process. Forget auto-leveling. You only gain stats through brutal hunting and exploration. Now he's back in the other realm grinding. He's grinding his archery skills from zero. Since he's a total noob, he's literally using YouTube tutorials to learn. Adjusting his stance, Seong-ho takes aim. His pro-gamer instincts begin to bleed into his real-world movements. He exhales, releasing the string. The arrow streaks through the air, thudding directly into the heart of the target. The accuracy stuns him. Is he the chosen one? Maybe. But the stinging pain in his hand tells a different story. Reality check. His physical strength is total trash. To survive the end times, a hardcore fitness arc was mandatory. Endurance was the new goal. With the basics covered, it was time to trigger Phase 2 of his master plan. Two priorities remained. First, he needed a foolproof method to slaughter monsters without getting himself killed in the process. Second, a secure fortress to stash his loot. But there was a problem. He was currently empty-handed. No weapons, no gear, nothing. Everything was stuck in delivery. While waiting, he decided to start small. He scouted for golden apples, hitting a ridiculous luck streak. Marking the map, he pushed his survival training to the limit. This obsessive preparation was exactly why he survived Sura's hell before. Suddenly, something caught his eye on the ground. He stumbled upon goblin droppings. Gross, yes. But for his mission, this was exactly what he was looking for. Goblins usually roam in packs, but seeing only one trail here meant something very specific in this world. A lone scout was nearby. Playing Poop Inspector Pro Max, Seong-ho deduced this goblin was a total outcast. This loner was his golden ticket to leveling up. As darkness fell, the hunt for the stray goblin truly began. The distant howls of wolves confirm he's nearing the valley. Suddenly, his target appears, the exact goblin he's been hunting. Crouching behind a massive trunk, Seong-ho's heart races. This thing is a pixel-perfect replica of the monsters from his game. In this world, goblins are the bottom-tier trash mobs. Don't let that fool you. They still pack lethal spears and venom-tipped darts. These creeps are famous for brutal torture and mutilation. That's exactly why our boy picked a long-range bow as his starter weapon. From his vantage point, this particular goblin looks ancient and half-dead. It's in absolutely pathetic shape. It's unarmed. Seong-ho instantly readies his bow, whispering to himself to keep it cool. One steady shot is all it takes. Twang, the arrow whistles through the air, piercing the goblin's arm. He aimed for the skull but missed by a hair. Still, a hit is a hit. Capitalizing on the monster's flinch, he scrambles to notch a second arrow for the finish. Wham! The goblin hurls a rock with inhuman force, slamming the bow right out of his hands. This isn't just some random mob, it's a seasoned vet. Both draw their blades, prepping for a bloody close-quarters brawl. It's like Sung Jin-woo versus Baru Wait. Wrong manhwa. My bad. Seong-ho unsheathes his dagger, lunging forward with a desperate slash, aimed right at the creature's ribs. The veteran goblin sidesteps effortlessly and delivers a bone-shattering blow to Seong-ho's kneecap, sending him crashing to the dirt. Ignoring the pain, Seong-ho lunges, tackling the beast and pinning it to the forest floor. Finally, he's got the upper hand. He drives his blade deep into the creature's chest. A horrific, blood-curdling shriek echoes through the trees. Slowly, the light leaves the monster's eyes. First kill secured. Notification sounds. Seong-ho just bagged his first 2 points. He's still shaking from the adrenaline. While scanning the area, he spots some guaca powder and vegetable oil nearby. In-game, these make a healing ointment. But first, he needs to dig, and fast. A rotting goblin is a literal dinner bell for predators. If a search party finds this corpse, he's toast. Plus, leaving it to decompose naturally is asking for a disaster. It'll eventually transform into a bone creeper, a total nightmare fuel. Nearby, he notices a pair of red trouts. Seong-ho's gut twists. He senses a presence, and as he looks up, a terrifying owl-like monstrosity is staring him down. To understand this threat, we have to look back at Seong-ho's legendary pro-gamer streaming days. He was a walking encyclopedia of game mechanics. His chat would literally pay him just to explore the most dangerous zones. He'd mastered the lore on goblins and kobolds, but he always warned his viewers to avoid bone creepers at all costs. Yet two apex predators rule this forest, the savage werewolves and the dreaded owlbears. Owlbears are insanely territorial. Their presence actually maintains a twisted sense of balance in this monster-filled ecosystem. Thinking back to his fans brings a small smile to his face. Especially that one loyal sub, Bool Sangman, who always cheered him on. The rest of the chat was a vibe mostly weirdos like that one guy who exclusively typed woof for 3 hours straight. But why are these wholesome memories surfacing now? It feels strangely out of place given the current situation. Maybe it's because he's staring into the eyes of a literal demon, a beast that's currently planning his funeral. Seong-ho shakes it off. These flashes of the past aren't a distraction, they're his brain telling him to focus or die. He needs a strategy and fast. Owlbears are pure aggression. They don't just kill, they shred everything in sight. The beast is currently stationary, which means it isn't in a starving frenzy mode just yet. There's a window. But there's a massive problem: they've accidentally trespassed into the red trout's private territory. Analyzing every variable, Seong-ho realizes there's only one desperate gamble left to survive this nightmare. He centers himself. In his mind, he's still the legendary Kim Bep-joa, even if he's stuck in this weakling body. Gnashing his teeth, he forces his trembling legs to move. It's time to show this overgrown bird who's boss. He issues a silent challenge, eyes locked on the predator. The creature shrieks and lunges, initiating a terrifying opening strike. Owlbears are the undisputed kings of the night, but they have one fatal flaw: they absolutely hate direct light. Having analyzed their movesets 1,000 times on stream, Seong-ho knows he just needs to time this perfectly. He dances around the beast's massive claws with pro-level precision. Now he needs to manufacture a blinding distraction. Exploding with sudden speed, he actually runs up the monster's massive forearm like a madman. He whips out a flashlight and blasts it right in the beast's retinas. Even an apex predator can't handle that much lumens point blank. Suddenly we cut to Seong-ho, groaning in bed as his alarm blares. Every muscle in his body feels like it's been through a meat grinder. He blacked out the second he reached home. His last memory is a blur of trees and pure adrenaline-fueled sprinting. Talk about bad luck. Getting jumped by an owlbear right after a life-or-death goblin brawl is just insane. Determined to avoid more drama, Seong-ho struggles to find a snack, but faceplants into the floor with a heavy thud. His legs are absolutely fried from that insane cardio session. Fortunately, those otherworldly golden apples are still in his inventory. Seong-ho takes a massive bite, feeling a rush of stamina instantly surge through his veins. He's back in the game and feeling legendary. He considers grabbing a real meal, but after a quick glow-up, he bumps into Temujin yet again. She's just there for a bite, a total coincidence. Seong-ho really wasn't looking for a dining partner right now. She invites herself anyway, craving some company. Mi-kyung immediately grills him about whether he's unlocked his status window yet. Seeing her hype, it clicks. This is exactly what she was itching to talk about during their last encounter. No more holding back. Mi-kyung pulls up the headlines, proving that the world has officially gone supernatural. Rogue players are already using their new perks to rob people. Seong-ho is shook by how bluntly she's asking. He keeps his poker face on, lying through his teeth that his screen is still blank. In this new world, gatekeeping his information feels like the only way to survive. His trade is all about strategy, not raw power. He needs to play his cards right to gain the ultimate edge. Safety is a myth here. Showing his hand too early could put a target right on his back. Trusting the lady in the red dress, her might be a fatal mistake. Things could go south real fast if he slips up. It's a high IQ play. Still, he's curious why Mi-kyung is so obsessed with the awakening process. Then she drops a bombshell, admitting she's been hiding the truth. Seong-ho senses she isn't a threat though. He tells her she can keep her secrets for now. There's no rush, and he encourages her before heading out. Back at the crib, his deliveries have finally arrived. He's officially locked and loaded with supplies. He hauls his gear to the rooftop, turning the second floor into a high-security storage zone for the essentials. He meticulously picks out the perfect loadout for today's high-stakes mission. Gas masks, tactical suits, the works. Our protagonist is on the hunt for a fortress-level hideout. A home base is non-negotiable. That's exactly why he's gripping that axe so tightly. Stepping through the portal, Seong-ho tracks down his first lead, a hidden goblin cave. He remembered stumbling upon it while scouting. He navigates back to the exact coordinates with ease. It's the ultimate low-key spot for his operations. But before moving in, he needs a head count. He checks the perimeter, scanning the shadows for any hostile residents. Tiny kobold tracks. This is a massive win since these weaklings are basically just tutorial fodder. Song-ho came prepared to stomp low-level mobs anyway. This is going to be a walk in the park. Kobolds are strictly nocturnal. Right now they're fast asleep and completely vulnerable. The plan, smoke them out. He starts hacking away at branches to gather enough kindling. He piles the wood at the cave mouth, then drenches the whole stack in gasoline. He thought this was a wrap. All he had to do was flick a lighter and watch them suffocate. Suddenly, a guttural snarl erupts. They've woken up and spotted their next human-sized snack. Song-ho gives a cold greeting before lunging forward, his axe slicing through the air with lethal precision. One smooth swing and two heads are nearly detached. They're dead before they even realize the fight started. Their grogginess was their downfall. The system pings level up +4 stat points in the bag. He tosses his lighter into the firewood. Thick, toxic fumes begin to billow into the dark cavern. In the Sura world, low-tier mobs can't handle modern tech. These fumes are their worst nightmare. Masked up, he waits. Sure, he could have roasted them, but this method makes the cleanup way easier. The sleeping kobolds snap awake in a panic, gasping for air as they scramble for the exit. They sprint right into his trap. He wanted them dazed and confused before the final execution. The second they cross the threshold, he's ready to end them while they're still hacking up lungs. He braced for a wave of 5, but he's thrown off when only 4 emerge from the smoke. That's weird. Usually they hunt in packs of 7. He drops one instantly, leaving only 3 survivors to deal with. The survivors charge him, throwing everything they've got in a desperate last-ditch effort to survive. Song-ho was locked in with his axe. He started swinging like a pro slugger, knocking those monsters out of the park. Another kobold lunges, but a face full of that legendary death spray blinds it instantly before it could even react. Seong-ho helped finish it off. With only 1 survivor left, he coldly glares down at their trembling leader. The table has turned as he declares their end. Claiming their hideout as his own, the slaughter finally ceases. Song-ho collapses in exhaustion. Even though the fight was light work, his trash stamina is a major handicap. Interestingly, the system interface mirrors the game perfectly, right down to the debuff icons from his fatigued state. Leveling up doesn't boost his stats automatically, just like the game. Still, higher levels mean unlocking the premium shop. That is a huge win. For now, the best perk is having a private sanctuary all to himself. But as much as he dreamed of a clean base, the reality of the interior was a total letdown. With the kobolds evicted, the cleaning arc begins. Our boy had to scrub away mountains of literal filth. He was over it. Cleaning this disaster felt like a bigger chore than the actual life-or-death battle he just won. Song-ho cursed those nasty gremlins for living in a dumpster. At least he didn't have to watch his back anymore. With a secured base, he just hops back to his world whenever it is time to take out the trash. It was a massive flex, but the cleanup still took forever. However, one discovery caught him off guard. Moving items between dimensions was surprisingly cracked. He set up a pipe on one side, and it functioned perfectly on the other, blowing his mind with how smooth the transition was. After hours of grinding, the place is finally sparkling. Next up, scrubbing bloodstains and pouring concrete to make storage easier. He starts plotting out the construction, weighing the pros of using mortar versus sandwich panels. This cave is actually a goldmine of luminous and ignition stones. Pure newbie loot in the game, but they are everywhere here. Seong-ho finally has a reason to start a serious mining session. By the next day, our boy is running on fumes. The daily grind is hitting his body hard. His muscles are screaming, and checking his arm, he notices a few battle scars from the struggle. Looking at his loot from the other realm, Song-ho decides it is time to craft some medicine. The recipe is basic, just mix guaca, powder, and vegetables in an equal ratio. One quick stir and boom, a low-tier healing ointment thanks to his background as a professional chef. His cooking skills made the crafting a breeze. Applying the salve feels like a much-needed level up for his recovery. Still, the thought of having to mass-produce this stuff constantly is already giving him a headache. He considers focusing on his base stats, but the risk is insane. He is putting his life on the line, and dying before the actual apocalypse even starts would be a legendary fail. Seong-ho isn't about that risky life, so he starts thinking about bringing a gun to the fight. Suddenly, it clicks. There is a hidden exploit he can use that is separate from the main game story. He knows the lore, but the real question is, will that background info hold up when the world ends? Clutching that knowledge, Seong-ho locks in, praying for those specific backstory events to trigger. If they do, the rewards will be absolutely broken. With a new metastrat ready, he heads to the roof for supplies. Opening the portal, our boy starts yeeting bags through to the other side. After clearing the roof, he grabs a few more essentials and heads down to the first floor. He was about to haul some packages when that same girl appears out of nowhere. He is starting to think, she is getting way too comfortable. He gives it to her straight, leaving her looking pretty embarrassed. He claims he is just busy with home renovations, and she totally buys it. What really shocks her is that he missed his usual 3-month haircut appointment. Seong-ho realizes she is right, and he definitely needs a clean cut before the next big raid. He drops everything and hits the shop. Looking like a Korean streamer, he tells her to buzz it all off for his new warrior arc. She is stunned but follows through. She can't help but notice how his shoulders have gotten noticeably broader. Honestly, what girl wouldn't notice that glow up? He just says he's been hitting the gym. While Mi-kyung keeps yapping about how the status windows feel just like a survival game. To be an awakener, you must have conquered the game once. Seong-ho plays it cool, nodding along like a clueless bystander. Yet curiosity bites as he probes for her intel source. Suddenly, a heavily tattooed thug storms into the salon. He's hunting for the latest leaks. Plot twist, our protagonist actually faced this loser in a past showdown. It was just a karaoke battle though. Seong-ho is fuming that this absolute clown is her primary contact. The blonde reveals that some mystery player wiped the streams to gatekeep all the valuable game secrets. Tension peaks when the thug brags about his plan to dox the legendary player's real-world coordinates. Intrigued, Seong-ho listens as In-hak name drops Kim Bob-joa, our hero's secret gaming alias. Talk about a messy situation. Now he knows there are literal bounty hunters tracking his every move. When In-hak aggressively recruits the lady, Seong-ho can't help but find the entire drama pathetic. He deleted those clips out of pure frustration, not profit. Seeking personal gain never even crossed his mind. This wannabe expert keeps yapping about things he doesn't understand, even insulting Seong-ho for abandoning the community. He has zero clue that his primary target is literally sitting right under his nose. Seeing such toxicity makes him question the community's mindset and whether he needs a total strategy shift. Finally snapping, he rises to confront In-hak, blasting him for interrupting his fresh haircut. In-hak attempts to act alpha, but Seong-ho's death stare instantly pierces through the loudmouth's bravado. He barks an order for the punk to vanish. Terrified, the thug freezes and prepares to leave. The bully scurries out, while Mi-kyung sighs in relief, watching the chaotic situation finally simmer down. He requests her digits solely to protect her, fearing that idiot might actually put her in danger. Reborn with a model-tier glow-up, Seong-ho returns home and dives straight into the online community forums. The discovery is jarring. The entire message board is drowning in toxic hate and venomous insults aimed at him. Amidst the sea of negativity, he eventually pinpoints In-hak's profile, buried in the comments. Surprisingly, this joker uses a cringe alias, even though his verified identity is fully exposed. The profile is a shrine of bitterness packed with anti-Seong-ho rants. This guy is a dedicated professional hater. Seong-ho shuts down his PC, unbothered by the noise. His mental fortress remains completely unshaken. Though slightly let down, an eerie tranquility washes over him as he summons the portal once more. For 48 hours, he grinds on his base, mastering construction and mining with his trusty pickaxe. He carefully layers and smooths the wet mortar, patiently waiting for each section to solidify. Gazing at the desolate moon, he decides it's time to strike back against the cruelty he's faced. He isn't playing the hero or seeking a grand destiny. He just wants to survive on his terms. Total survival is the only mission. As long as he's the last one standing, nothing else matters. Suddenly, a bone creeper rattles toward him, shattering his resolve and sending a jolt of pure terror. Already on edge, Seong-ho vents his boiling rage onto this new skeletal target. A massive blast erupts, swallowing the world in fire. When he regains consciousness, his body is battered. Disoriented, his memories fuzzy. The terrifying image of the exploding bone creeper finally flashes back. It's a miracle he's still breathing after taking a point-blank detonation straight to the face. He saw it coming. The moment that creature appeared, Seong-ho sensed the imminent, lethal explosion. He scrambled for safety, but the shockwave slammed into him with bone-shattering force, knocking him cold. Survival came at a price. His right side is now peppered with agonizing needle-sharp bone shards. Summoning his fading strength, he checks his status window, only to find his attributes significantly drained. Despite his critical condition, the system grants him experience points for annihilating that monstrosity. A deafening migraine throbs in his skull. With his last bit of mana, he struggles to stay conscious. He forces the portal open and collapses through, immediately beginning the task of patching himself up. He has to dig out the jagged bone fragments manually. Each pull is an agonizing nightmare. The pain is excruciating, but once cleared, the healing ointment slowly begins to seal his shredded skin. After wrapping his wounds, Seong-ho finally hits his breaking point and slips into a deep, exhausted slumber. Sunlight hits. Another day, another brush with death for our boy. First priority, check the damage. He summons the holographic status window. System confirms he is stable. But how did that skeletal freak track him? This forest is a massive labyrinth. Monsters could be lurking anywhere. Panic sets in. He needs to crank up his perception and detection stats. In this brutal world, leveling up stats requires precious points. You grind for those through blood and exploration or high-tier loot. Problem is, survival life is a death simulator with insane difficulty. Even basic gear requires slaying monsters way above your pay grade. It is a literal hellscape just to get a blade or unlock skills. High-rank bosses drop the goods, but compatibility is always a gamble. Seong-ho hunts for a loophole, revisiting the game's deep lore. These events happened before the asteroids turned Earth into a wasteland. If he is fast, he can snag legendary items before the apocalypse. It is a wild theory, but a solid one. Time for a hunt. He spends hours deep diving into records pinpointing 3 legendary quest zones: the Russian vessel, the Hobgoblin Lair, and the infamous Jerry Mountain Orc. Intel says the orc spawns on the 26th. He moves by the 25th. He is prepping when his phone buzzes. It is Min Kyung calling. Midnight at a quiet cafe. She eyes him, worried about his health. Long sleeves in this heat, sus. She is way sharper than expected. She thinks he is traumatized by the shop fight, not hiding scars. He plays it cool. She sighs in relief, admitting she was terrified. He warns her about a local thug with a modified tow truck. The guy is a total bottom feeder. Min Kyung is genuinely shook. He tells her to ghost the creep, then asks why she called. She leans in, whispering a bombshell she is actually an awakened. Why leak such a dangerous secret? He fakes jealousy to stay casual. She feels guilty for the flex, but he brushes it off. Meeting over, he is stoked to have an ally he can trust. Leaving a breadcrumb, he mentions his research into the survival life game. Back home, he realizes finding a genuine soul is a miracle. Time to gear up. He buys drones and a rental car. He crashes for the night. Morning comes with a brand new mission. At dawn, he is back crafting specialized orc-slaying explosives at base. One wrong move and these ignition stones go boom. Precision is everything. He grinds down blinding luminous stones into a potent tactical powder. Next, he brews a deadly cocktail of sugar, fuel, and solvents. He adds a hardening agent. Thanks to his dimensional gate, storage is effortless. He secures his luggage, finalizing his loadout for the high-stakes journey. He loads the rental car and guns it toward Jerry Mountain. He hits the campground parking lot just before the clock strikes 12. With his gear locked and loaded, he runs mental combat sims. Midnight sharp. The search begins. 2 hours later, the rain pours. A thick mist swallows the forest. Where are those monsters hiding? Scanning the campsite, he's convinced these supernatural omens only happen in movies, not the real world. Suddenly, a thunderous roar shatters the silence. Panicking, he spins around, only to see a looming shadow closing in. It's an orc, but not a common one. This is a red subspecies, meaning a guaranteed skill drop is coming. Kang Seong-ho steadies his breathing and ignites a cracker. If his strategy holds, he's got this in the bag. Capture is certain. His anti-orc tactic is simple. Weaponize the monster's own blind rage against it as the first step. To bait the beast, he uses the firecracker's flare. Distracted by the light, the orc hacks at it with its axe. Now's the time. He aims, snaps open a portal, and immediately primes a flashbang for a blinding tactical strike. The searing light blinds the orc for 20 seconds. Now, it's a high-stakes race against time to finish the job. He immediately tears into the orc's muscles, which are now weakened by the status debuff. Its mobility drops to 0. Howling in fury, the orc swings its massive axe, desperate to crush our hero into paste. But Seong-ho is pure reflex, ducking under the lethal swing to deliver a devastating high-speed counter. He plunges his knife into the orc's foot. Screaming in agony, the massive beast collapses onto its knees, completely vulnerable. With their eyes locked at the same level, he jams a pre-made flame canister deep into its gaping mouth. Boom! The monster's jaw explodes instantly. As the smoke clears, Seong-ho finally lets out a breath, savoring the hard-won victory. Suddenly, a heavy fist sends him flying. He scrambles up, cursing himself for letting his guard down too early. He watches the burning orc stagger toward him. It's a walking inferno, and there's no way it survives this. Seong-ho braces for a bloody end. But just then, his system pings with a life-saving notification. Level 3 reached. He gains 10 stat points and a clutch new skill, Will to Survive. Talk about perfect timing. He stands up, exhausted but alive. As he hunts for the loot, a strange light begins to pulse on his wrist. He checks his arm, the drop is a watch of perception. He exhales in pure relief. Finding loot in this downpour would have been a nightmare. Standing over the carcass, he weighs his next move carefully. He remembers the Jurasan incident was blacklisted. Is leaking this info right, or will it just trigger massive panic? He recalls Mi-kyung's words, anyone who played that game has already awakened. That changes everything. This means thousands of people are now superpowered. And that only leads to one terrifying conclusion. Thousands have likely awakened. If even a small minority of them are dangerous types. Like that psycho Owen Hawk, they'll destroy the law for personal gain and ignite total global chaos. But the immediate threat is the corpse. If left alone, it'll turn into a bone creeper by tomorrow morning. A dark thought crosses his mind. Could he become a zombie? Even as an awakened infection is a real possibility. If those spores get into his system, it's game over. He's paralyzed by the weight of the decision. Unsure of the right path, he simply opens the portal. The world deserves some semblance of order. While few will likely survive the coming storm, he's determined to give this world a dignified end. Seong-ho begins digging a grave to bury his kill. Exhaustion hits him hard as he struggles with the weight. He wonders how to move the beast. Suddenly, his new Will to Survive skill flares to life, granting him strength. With the skill active, he powers through the task, finishing the grim job in record time. He drags the orc into the hole, grateful for the boost. No choice but to move fast before sunrise. He hops through a portal, landing inside a moving car. His body feels like lead as the adrenaline fades. It'll take time to recover before he's back in action. The next morning, he wakes to a strange sight. Is this weather for real? By now, his planned defense line should have already been established. He checks his phone, hoping the red orc traces are gone. For today, he's staying off the grid. It's not the time to start anything new. Instead, he inspects the mystery crates that arrived at dawn. He finds a stash of weapons, but they're basically primitive clubs for now. Some essential gear is definitely missing. A note explains that his illegal orders were seized at customs. Great, just what he needed. As he sorts through the gear, another van pulls up. He shouts for the driver to leave the package. A knock sounds at the door. Annoyed that the driver ignored him, he repeats his instruction and opens up. But it wasn't the delivery guy. Standing there was someone he never expected to see at his front gate. It was Mi Kyung. Standing there, she explains, it's been ages and she needs to drop some heavy news. Clutching a bag of takeout, she casually asks if he's down for some rabaki. With only 24 days until doomsday, our lead can't believe Mi Kyung actually pulled up to his crib. His face is a total tomato as he tries to keep his cool. She sets the table, telling him to dig in before it's ice cold. He follows her lead and they finish the meal in record time. Then he finally asks what's really on her mind. She cuts the fluff, revealing she has major intel on Seola, since he mentioned he was digging into her. Honestly, that's not what he expected. He low-key thought she was here to ask him out, but he shakes it off, realizing that strategizing for the end of the world is the smarter move right now. In a crisis, you need a solid squad. While she clears the trash, our guy starts prepping his next play. He fires up his PC and admits he's already awakened better she hears it from him than finding out the hard way. He breaks down the metal death plague, explaining why running in packs of more than 6 is a death sentence. That many people make you a neon sign for zombies. Sharp perception is the only way to stay alive. This makes it the ultimate survival stat. In this world, the only win condition is staying upright. Just as he's hitting his stride, she cuts him off to mention Oh Jin Hyuk's gossip about Kim Gaebae's bad rep. Why is he gatekeeping all the info? Our hero doesn't have a clue, so he lets her take a shot at it. She figures everyone's got their own agenda. That's when he mentions he ghosted the guy's recruitment offer. She's baffled by the rejection, so he whips out his phone to show her the receipts. It's a voice note about snatching a girl just because she's acting distant. Hearing that trash talk makes his blood boil. He turns to Mi Kyung, warning her about what happens when society finally collapses. People show their true, ugly colors. He tells her to trust nobody, but she catches him off guard with a proposal. She wants to party up. Our guy clenches his jaw, unable to give her a straight answer just yet. He's grinding for level 10 to unlock the shop before the tutorial, but Seola creates a massive roadblock. The system scales monster ranks based on the player's level, making things incredibly risky. If she tags along, she's basically signing her own death warrant. He lets out a tense, nervous laugh. He asks what she'd do if he turned into a walker. She smirks, using her trait to instantly blink across the room. She flexes her blink skill, joking she'll just dodge him if he gets bitey. He's floored by her hidden talent. He warns her to keep that trump card hidden, but she just smiles, saying she trusts him. They'd be a lethal duo, assuming they don't turn into brain eaters first. Later, he's out by the trees, amazed at how easy it was to build fences. Step 1 was driving the support posts deep. Next, he strung up the barbed wire and locked everything down. He caps it off by rigging infrared sensors. Looking at his handiwork, the perimeter finally feels secure. He's feeling himself, hoping he bagged at least one dexterity point for the effort. Then Seung-ho heads back. He finishes the masonry for his defensive wall, before starting the heavy lifting with the supply crates. After moving the last of the boxes, a sudden chill hits him. He sneezes the cold, biting at his skin. He realizes the shift will bring a brutal winter. He needs to winterize his shelter before things get ugly. Staring at the cave entrance, he decides a real gate is mandatory. A simple curtain won't keep the monsters out. The to-do list just keeps growing. Later, he hits up a woodworking shop to source materials and custom gear. On the trek back, he scouts targets to hit during that crucial 5-hour window before the plague goes viral. While mapping his route, he's intercepted by Hyung-jun, a face he hasn't seen in forever. The guy's a divorced gym owner with a young kid, and he looks like he's carrying the weight of the world. Hyung-jun isn't one for small talk, but he definitely notices our boy's massive physical glow-up. When asked what's wrong, the gym owner sighs, making it pretty obvious he's hit a breaking point. He's spiraling because the world is literally ending. The protagonist is shocked the news reached him too. Hyung asks if he's a believer. He was a skeptic too, right up until his buddy started literally levitating. Playing it cool, our hero lies about being a normie, making the gym guy sigh since he's unawakened too. Now, his superpowered friend is heading to the TV station for a payday. The gym owner motions for him to sit. A chilling realization hits him: the secret of the awakened is about to go global. Hyung quickly pivots to a viral incident, the insane shootout in Uido. Song-ho is blindsided because he skipped the morning news, so his buddy tells him to check headlines immediately. But wait, the post vanishes instantly. The media is being gagged, and Hyung drops some massive follow-up intel. They're spinning a lie to bury the truth, claiming the gunman was just some random military deserter. Now the crime scene is a total dead zone, strictly for military and police only. Suddenly, our guy bolts upright. He bluffs an excuse and sprints away. Back at his place, he connects the dots. The shooting started after that orc chaos. It reeks of a conspiracy. The government's suspicious reaction makes it clear they're definitely hiding something big. He fires up his PC and clicks a file. He's stunned. Why do so many people know the exact timing of the precursor phenomenon? He neutralized the orc, yet the shooting happened simultaneously. As his mind races, a dark theory begins to form. What if a whistleblower leaked intel to the government, triggering this secret mobilization way ahead of schedule? Ever since the first sign, they've stayed in the shadows, likely because they lack the raw power to fight in the open. He's not sure who, but someone is definitely pulling the government's strings. Song-ho desperately wonders who the puppet master is. After some digging, he narrows it down to 3 veteran players. He eventually crosses the original game creators off his list. If the game is bleeding into reality, the ones who built it are almost certainly the ultimate villains in this nightmare. If the government was backing these villains, they'd never have let him slay that orc. He begins sketching 3 potential suspects. These are his prime suspects. Is survivor number 1 the real culprit? He questions if his logic actually holds up. He decides against handing this intel to the authorities just yet. Leaning back, he contemplates his next move. He wonders if survivor number 1 is the man he knew missing his old veteran crew. For now, he'll choose to trust them. Besides, leaking the truth wouldn't stop the inevitable catastrophe heading their way. The disaster is looming, so he stays quiet. 48 hours later, his reinforced door is set, and the pantry is stocked. Phase 1 of the bunker is complete. He installs 2 logistics trays before starting to drill through the concrete, but the space is tighter than expected. With the waterproofing finished, he continues grinding on the renovations piece by piece. He shrugs it off, trusting the process as he officially kicks off Phase 2 of his survival plan. Now comes a critical mission, aerial scouting. He deploys his drone to start mapping the surrounding terrain. Donning his VR headset, he pilots the drone from the shelter's center point and begins exploring the uncharted wild. The drone reveals frozen wastes to the northwest and a southern ocean monster-free and teeming with easy food. He plans to set fish traps immediately. Next, he scouts the nearby valley to analyze the local ecosystem. Suddenly, he spots the owlbear's grave, but the body is gone. Did some massive beast dig it up for a snack? He stays cautious. The area is littered with various tracks, and most of them clearly belong to orcs. This is incredibly sus. He calculates the distance. That valley is only 1.5 kilometers from his front door. His safe house is way more exposed than he thought. With goblins lurking nearby, he quickly recalls the drone to base. He can't risk losing his eyes in the sky. He successfully maps the woods, identifying every predator in the area. Now it's time for boots-on-the-ground recon. His first stop, investigating the nearby swamp for resources. He's scouting for farmland when his infrared sensors scream. He steps out, already knowing goblins are closing in. Seeing their fresh tracks, he realizes this is the perfect opening to test his skills. He's been waiting for this. Is his boosted perception stat working overtime? Even the faintest rustle sounds like a thunderclap to his heightened senses. He stalks the goblins from the shadows, eventually finding the ultimate angle for a deadly surprise attack. He notches an arrow, aims for the lead goblin's skull, and lets it fly. 1 shot, 1 kill. The pack spots him and charges in a frenzy, but he's a blur of motion, cutting them down with clinical precision. It's light work. After dropping the first 4, he immediately turns his blade toward the final group of survivors. They surround him, but he pulls a secret weapon from his pocket that forces the goblins to their knees instantly. While they're paralyzed and kneeling, our MC ruthlessly executes them, claiming their heads in one clean sweep. He exploited their sheer exhaustion to secure the win. Honestly, even he's shocked that his gamble actually paid off. Only 21 days remain until the world ends. As he digs deeper into the earth, exhaustion finally starts to set in. Out of nowhere, his passive ability procs flooding his veins with surging energy. Turns out this skill isn't trash tier after all. Once the gruesome task of burying those goblin carcasses is over, he shifts his focus to the mountain of loot. He snags the guaca fruit, first a clutch find for stamina recovery. Among the spoils, there is also an insane amount of vegetable oil. Could there be a farm nearby? To find out, he starts looting the goblin leader's personal pouch. His eyes widen as he pulls out a tiny, vibrant blue toad, very much alive. The unusual color raises some major red flags. Why keep it alive? Suddenly, a pungent odor hits him and he instantly clocks it. This thing is a walking paralysis toxin factory. Realizing it is the source of the goblin's venom, he decides right then he is keeping this toxic little guy as a pet. It is weirdly adorable, but more importantly, farming its venom means he can finally build up his own poison-resistant stats. Microdosing this toxin will make future hunts a breeze once his body adapts to the paralytic effect. He dubs the little guy Jodok. As he plans out a heavy feeding schedule system, notifications regarding his new companion start popping up. Now that Jodok is officially his, he wonders if this is one of those hidden Easter eggs hidden in reality. His mind races over-calculating every possibility before he heads out and cracks open the dimensional gate to explore. He teleports back and forth, grinding through the logistics until his inventory and base are perfectly optimized for the next phase. Scouting the perimeter, he discovers a freshwater spring, a vital resource he somehow missed during his earlier drone recon. After a quick check, he confirms it is just pure, safe water. No traps or toxic pollutants lurking in the stream. Score. Right next to his shelter is a hidden grove featuring a guaca tree and a patch of vegetable oil buds. He harvests a massive haul of fruits and buds before carving markers into the trees to ensure he never loses his way. Navigating back to his apartment, he immediately tends to Jodok, giving his venomous little buddy a much-needed meal. For now, the second-floor apartment is Jodok's nursery. Leaving the little guy alone in the hideout is way too risky. Jodok wouldn't survive on his own. Plus, he has a massive to-do list, including the grueling process of crafting specialized healing ointments. He ends up with a massive surplus of meds. Giving it to Mi-kyung feels way too suspicious right now. Since she is an awakener, she might ask too many questions, so he heads to Hyung's place to share the wealth over protein shakes. When he hands over the ointment, Hyung is visibly confused. He just plays it off like he accidentally over-ordered some supplies. He claims it is top tier for healing wounds. Hyung jokes about him starting a side hustle in sales, but he quickly shuts it down. Hyung is hyped for the meds and the Sura intel, but our protagonist is focused on something much more urgent. He thanks Hyung for the heads up on the shooting incident, but notices the gym has gone eerily silent. Hyung explains that after the streamer leaked that classified info, everyone scrambled to brainstorm their next survival strategies. They are planning to fortify this place, but he warns Hyung that a large group is just a giant target for monsters. Hyung is too loyal to ditch his crew. Shifting the focus, he asks Seong-ho what his own game plan is for the future. He brushes the question aside, but a sudden piercing scream echoes, and Seong-ho recognizes that voice immediately. Looking down, he spots Mi-kyung collapsed on the asphalt. They both sprint toward her, hearts racing as they assess the situation. She was jumped, but the assailant was like a ghost. Without a second thought, Hyung charges outside to hunt the attacker down. Hyung ignores his warnings and scours the area. Meanwhile, he stays glued to Mi-kyung's side to ensure her safety. She describes the world suddenly fading to black, leaving her completely blindsided by the invisible strike. A cold shiver runs down his spine as the terrifying reality sets in. He desperately tells her to keep her guard up. He warns her to use blink the moment things feel off, because the players have finally made their move. He promises to send a self-defense kit soon. With only 20 days left until the world ends, there is zero room for error. Remember that old meme, if you have got a squad of 5, at least one of them is guaranteed to be useless. Trolls are a plague everywhere but in Sura. They are an absolute nightmare despite the developers' attempts to patch things. Reports are filed, but these toxic players always slip through the cracks, pretending to be normal teammates before striking from within. They bait unsuspecting parties into high-level monster zones, laughing as the entire team gets brutally wiped out. These snakes lure in newbies with fake kindness, only to backstab them for their loot. Their cruelty knows no bounds. By inciting civil war among players, they tanked the game's reputation in a single year, leaving only a few survivors. Since Song-ho's squad already neutralized the local trolls, he starts questioning why he is even dwelling on this dark history. He tallies up his findings since the Uedo massacre. The fractured Awakener factions have finally started to merge into one. These guys aren't just leaking info, they're plotting. He suddenly cuts his words short. Discovering his contents being bootlegged, Seong-ho dives deeper into the forums. Turns out his teammate Doaji Sem is a total troll. He freezes. A thumbnail pops up. Doaji Sem is clout chasing, claiming Kim Bap-jo carried his entire squad. Is this troll using deep fakes to bait the masses? Seong-ho's mind races as the plot thickens. He ironically applauds the troll's galaxy brain move. Time to lock in. He stretches, ready to grind his stats even harder. To handle these snakes, our MC spends the next 13 days obsessively mastering every weapon he can get. He binges hardcore survival tutorials for real-world combat. Meanwhile, the clock is ticking down toward the inevitable chaos. He analyzes monster nest raids, noticing a massive flaw. Most strategies completely ignore the deadly threat of wire disease. After 2 weeks of hellish training, Seong-ho is finally ready to pick his ultimate signature weapon. He needs a tool that slaughters monsters, crushes humans, and survives the terrifying wire disease outbreak. Rummaging through his gear, he pulls out a war club, a slingshot, clay pellets, and a primitive stone axe. None of them feel right. Still, he starts with the slingshot, testing if its utility outweighs its lack of punch. It's versatile, sure, but these clay pellets hit like wet paper. Totally useless for high-stakes survival. Next item. He grips the Indian war club. If wire disease is the new reality, he needs something that hits heavy. Fact. To kill a zombie, you must pulverize the spores inside its brain. Nothing does that better than blunt force. His master plan, reach level 10 and unlock a legendary blunt-type weapon. This club is just the beginning, the Ebony Wood Club. He needs to max out his proficiency now, or that beastly weapon will be useless. But will this club stop a human threat? In a world of psychics, a simple wooden stick feels risky. Taking down an awakened psychic with just a club, that's a total death wish in this brutal survival game. Murder yields 50 points. The system is literally begging players to turn into predators and hunt each other down. Becoming a murderer carries penalties, but in this hellscape, many will sacrifice their humanity for those sweet points. They'll kill for a slight edge. With a savage swing, Song-ho obliterates a training dummy, pure destruction. He'll dodge those PK-hungry psychos for now. First, he needs to farm enough skills to become untouchable. Drenched in sweat, our hero catches his breath. His next move, stripping this entire store for every scrap of loot. Suddenly, he freezes. A low haunting howl echoes through the air. Something dangerous is lurking nearby. Is there a wounded beast near his base? Seong-ho investigates and finds a massive wolf, a true apex predator. It's big enough to ride. The system identifies it as a gray wolf, but something is terribly wrong here. It's not breathing. Is this a lone stray, or did it crawl here after a brutal encounter? As he leans in to inspect the wounds, the shadows move. Suddenly, a blur of fur strikes him from behind. A tiny pup slams into his back. The realization hits him this dead beast was the little guy's mother. The pup stands defiantly guarding its mother's corpse. Seong-ho can't bring himself to use force on it. He can't just leave them. Grabbing a shovel, our hero decides to give the fallen mother a proper burial. He digs deep. If this was a monster, it might respawn as a bone creeper. He can't take risks. Even a normal corpse is bait for scavengers. Finally, the grave is ready to receive its silent guest. Seeing the pup curled up by its mother brings back painful memories of Mung-chi, the dog from his childhood. He gently picks up the pup. "Your mom's just resting here," he whispers. "You can visit her anytime." After carving a pet door into his base, Seong-ho offers the wolf meat. "I won't let you starve. I'll protect you, but I need your nose to survive," he proposes. "Do we have a deal, little guy?" The pup whimpers in agreement. He names him Dingo. As he pats his new ally, a system alert flashes. Communication success. Dingo is now officially his companion. In this dying world, he's no longer fighting alone. 19 days left. The apocalypse is looming, and Seong-ho is putting Dingo through a grueling training camp. Command after command, the wolf learns. Pa Song-ho shouts, and Dingo perfectly places a limb in his palm. Run, sit, stay silent. Dingo executes every order with uncanny precision. This pup is a natural-born soldier. Finally, he tosses a bone high. Dingo leaps, snatching it midair with lethal grace. Seong-ho smirks perfect. This beast is from another world. Its learning speed is insane. With those tracking skills, they'll be unstoppable. To him, Dingo is a total cheat code, a fluffy blessing. He showers his loyal companion with a soft, affectionate kiss. He starts to speak, but his phone buzzes. Seong-ho checks the screen. It's a new message from Hyung. Hyung tells him to look up levitation. Soon, our hero stumbles upon a viral article about a mysterious figure being summoned. They're calling him the first superhuman. He claims a monster apocalypse is coming, and the post is currently trending at rank 1. The comment section is toxic, with everyone calling it a desperate clickbait stunt for higher ratings. Most people are clueless, but the real awakeners are sweating. Seong-ho finds the online chaos absolutely hilarious. He watches users rage over gate-kept info, while others flip out because their secret knowledge just went mainstream. How will the feds react? Protests are already erupting as the public reels from the shock. He ponders the superpowers but quickly snaps back. He's staying out of it, though he knows the government will eventually step in. The second omen, the Hobgoblin event, is looming. Song-ho won't waste a second. He looks at Dingo. It's go time. They're heading into the deep wilds. Song-ho knows that being over-prepared is the only way to survive. Dingo is hyped. As they step through the portal, Seong-ho considers why he chose this path with his wolf. He gives Dingo a scent pouch to sniff. Track it down, he commands, testing the wolf's primal instincts. Step 1. Prepping for the hobgoblins. Dingo needs to hard-code that specific scent into his brain right now. He needs the stench of goblins. Dingo barks, discovering hidden meat in the brush. Seong-ho is impressed by his speed. He tracked it from a faint trace. Next, Seong-ho must see if Dingo keeps his cool during a real fight. At a single signal, the wolf lunges with lethal precision. Dingo instantly takes down a rabbit hiding in the grass. Good boy. Reason 3 for this trip, confirming if they can actually survive by hunting in this world. Seong-ho walks over to inspect the kill, carefully examining the massive, lifeless rabbit. It's got wicked claws and a huge frame. Together, the duo pushes deeper into the unknown. He wonders what Dingo's stats look like. Let's head to the valley and put his skills to the test. A system alert pops up. Dingo's HP just increased. Seong-ho recalls his old Kimbafo. HP was a massive 170. Dingo's growth rate is insane. Suddenly, the wolf starts coughing, and Seong-ho rushes over with some fresh water. Stay close, buddy, he warns. Just then, he spots a weirdly large green pepper growing nearby. Did Dingo eat this? It's a bull pepper. Finding this rare loot in the wild is a massive win. He promises Dingo treats later while harvesting the pepper. Now it's time for one final hunt before heading back. They chill by the stream. Dingo's ears twitch, but he doesn't catch any threatening scents or hidden vibes. These red trout aren't monsters, no XP or loot drops here. But they serve a greater purpose. Dingo needs the real-world experience. It's a grind, but it's worth it. They start fishing. It's time to wrap up Phase 2 prep. Tomorrow they're heading back to reality. His restaurant is a pile of rubble. The contractor tells Song-ho to hit them up if anything needs fixing. He thanks the manager for the early shift. It's hard work, but the renovation is finally moving. Seeing the place gutted stings, but it's a necessary sacrifice for what's coming next. Once the world ends, anyone left standing is going to start looting every shop in sight. He'd do the same, so he can't complain. As he cleans, a familiar shadow looms behind him. It's Hyung. Hyung notes the room is empty. Just the essentials, huh? Seong-ho asks why the hell he's even there. Flick Hyung nails him in the forehead, fuming that Seong-ho ghosted him the day before. Hyung just wanted to see if he was still breathing. Meanwhile, Dingo glares at the intruder with icy eyes. Since when did you get a dog? Hyung asks. Seong-ho explains, his old dog is gone. This is the new guy. Hyung thinks the wolf is cute. Song-ho asks again what's the real reason for this visit. Song-ho calls Cap. Finally, Hyung admits he was genuinely worried, but there's more to the story. He found the snakes who jumped Mae-kyung. Now only 17 days remain until the world burns. Kim Chel-jun, the guy who's always wearing that hat, is the one leading the hit on Mae-kyung. Even that trashy tow truck gang is involved. The web of enemies is growing by the second. Hyung points toward the towering peaks. You know that area at the foot of the mountain. Construction stalled here, and their secret base is hidden nearby. Still, our hero wonders how Hyung tracked them down. Simple logic, he explains. That gravity defier Hanjin Seong recently flexed on a variety show. Hyung just hit him up directly for the tea. Hanjin admitted meeting Il-jun's squad before calling them straight-up trash. He bailed immediately. Following Mi-kyung's trauma, every female member began ghosting the party. Their excuse better offers from rival Awakener crews. Hyung probes for Seong-ho's take. Our MC suspects a trap. These women were likely deceived. Then Hyung drops a bombshell. Their ranks have plummeted to just 4 people. Seong-ho is floored. They had 20 just days ago. Only 2 Awakeners remain. Song-ho reels, remembering all the favors they did for those deserters. Hyung stays cold, claiming it's just human nature. Everyone is just looking out for number 1. Switching gears, Hyung worries about little Ji-eun. He's debating calling his ex-wife for help. Seong-ho stays stoic, comparing their lives while questioning his own moral compass. He finally asks if the world truly ends, and Hyung is cornered. What's his move? Before the sentence finishes, Hyung snaps back. He wouldn't hesitate to end them. No laws means no mercy. In a total collapse, evil has 0 room to breathe. Hyung finds the question odd. It's definitely not the Seong-ho he knows. Suddenly, a desperate scream pierces the air, coming straight from our hero's smartphone. Hyung suspects a lost child, but Seong-ho's map reveals a much deadlier reality. Leaving Dingo with Hyung, he vanishes. Elsewhere, Mi-kyung is cornered by hunters. She sent a frantic SOS. The enforcer, On-in, sneers, demanding she surrender immediately. Perched on a roof's edge, Mi-kyung screams her refusal. They won't stop hunting her. She demands answers. On-in feigns concern, but his thugs step forward to settle this. They're in a dead zone. No one is coming to save her. It's total isolation. Kim Chol warns her to stop resisting. They all have traits, after all. The countdown begins. Meanwhile, Seong-ho is lurking in the shadows, prepping his gear. At 2, a projectile flies. At 3, Kim Chol is rocked. The gang panics. A helmeted figure lunges from the dark. Seong-ho targets On-in, hiding his face. Crushing On-in with his war club, he immediately blurs toward the next target. A shroud of dark energy erupts, a vision-blocking trait. Seong-ho strikes through it regardless. Gasping for air, he hears Mi-kyung's warning. A bat swings violently toward his head. The impact shatters his visor. The raw, destructive power leaves Seong-ho shaken. Recognition flashes in the enemy's eyes. Seong-ho realizes Kim Chol's trait is terrifyingly lethal. The thugs rally ready to cripple our boy. On-in charges, sparks flying from his fists. He mocks our hero's struggle. Desperate Seong-ho considers opening the dimensional gate. Suddenly, Dingo lunges, locking onto On-in's arm. Hyung steps out, calm as ever. Even in the early stages, our MC's power is unreal. Kim Cheol vows to permanently wreck him while his squad backs him up. On-in, a non-awakener, charges our hero with crackling electricity, trash-talking while trying to unleash his full strength. Seong-ho is caught off guard. His opponent is spamming flashy skills like a pro, leaving him totally unsure of his next move. He considers popping the dimensional gate, but before On-in can land a hit, Dingo leaps in and sinks his teeth into his arm. Hyung steps out, asking if they're really doing this in broad daylight. He tells the crew they better start walking. Unless they want a world of trouble, he's dialing 112. Smartly, the entire squad decides to bail. Hyung notes they're weak but act like high-tier bosses. Just then, Mi-kyung arrives on the scene. She immediately grabs our hero's head to check for injuries, noticing his helmet is completely cracked. Hyung offers a piggyback, and seeing them so worried, Seong-ho's mind flashes back to his old game comrades. When Mi-kyung pushes for a hospital visit, the MC brushes her off and turns to ask Hyung a question. Hyung is down to recruit Mi-kyung into the squad, as long as she is actually game for it. She instantly vibes with the plan. Our hero dips to handle business, leaving the duo totally ghosted and confused. Back at base, he locks in reining in his emotions while plotting out stage 2 of his master plan. That abrupt exit was vital. Seeing them together made him want to spill his secrets, but he stayed ice cold. He almost trusted them with his hidden powers, but the grind comes first. No turning back now. To dominate the dimensional gate, he needs to speedrun levels and focus on heavy skill, farming, and loot. The motto, overwhelm them with sheer item power. After that mountain raid, he realizes the stakes are rising. If he sticks to the script, a 3-level gap will emerge, making nearby monsters way too cracked to handle. These buffed spawns will make teaming up with his squad a total nightmare. He needs a new strategy. He grinds until his wood-burning stove is installed. Finally, he can catch some actual sleep in this hideout. Dingo is already loving the warmth passing out by the fire. The initial base setup is almost finished. With the end in sight, he decides to pull a legendary all-nighter to finish the job. Just 16 days remain until the world ends. On the news anchors report on that massive asteroid. The HSA claims Yeonjambi has reached the solar system's midpoint, and they are tracking its every move. Jupiter's gravity literally ripped the meteorite in two. Now, 2 fragments are hurtling through the void. Expert Thomas Chandler insists these shards Alpha and Beta will not even graze Earth. He is dead wrong. Seong-ho remembers the truth. 5 days before the apocalypse, Yeonjambi Beta makes planetfall. It will strike near a Russian vessel, sending a colossal tsunami surging toward Gamcheon port. That is how the zombie plague first infiltrates Korea. Meanwhile, the Uedo shooting is still making headlines. President Jang Won-taek has been ghosting the public for a week, hiding inside his residence. The opposition is done waiting, demanding a full hearing. Rumors are spreading like wildfire across the net. Everyone is whispering about the Awakeners and the dark disaster looming on the horizon. The grim reality sinks in, as Seong-ho finally accepts that the world has gone to hell. It's honestly a relief that the mainstream media is finally waking up and covering this chaos. With more eyes watching, rogue Awakeners won't find it so easy to commit crimes anymore. Diving into the digital chaos, our main character scrolls through the comment sections to gauge the community's vibe. The threads are overflowing with heated debates until a familiar username catches his eye, My Dream. Could this veteran player still be active? My Dream was legendary for being the ultimate beginner's guide. Back in the day, Seong-ho's squad teamed up with him, knowing his obsession with bunker building. Without his secret portal, our hero might have joined him. Still, he refuses to sign any shady contracts. Unless his old crew regroups with My Dream, he just saves the comment and shuts his laptop. The mission is clear: expand the fortress. By dawn, Seong-ho stands before his base, looking like a zombie. 2 days without sleep is rough, but seeing the reinforced exterior gives him a massive second wind. Now it's all about the grid. He dives into the complex wiring needed to harness that solar energy. It's a tedious process, but the moment he plugs in his phone, the charging icon pops up. Success. He lets out a victory shout. The absolute foundation for surviving the apocalypse is officially set. A massive wave of dopamine hits his brain. Just yesterday, his scavenging run actually paid off. He scored luminous stones and a rare mineral called emeris, something way sharper and tougher than obsidian. It's currently useless, but better to have it than not. LED lighting is definitely his next big project. Before he can organize the basement rations, Dingo's aggressive barking shatters the silence. Something is very wrong. Seong-ho sprints outside only to find Dingo cornered by Mane Wolves, vicious monsters he has only heard of. These high-altitude predators shouldn't be here. Seeing Dingo's pure rage, our hero realizes the truth. These are the beasts that slaughtered Dingo's mother. He tries to restrain his companion, but tension peaks. Fighting a whole pack solo is suicide. Reaching for a better weapon means turning his back, a fatal mistake. One wrong move, and it is game over. He decides to take down the Alpha to break them. The pack is hyper-cautious, eyes locked on their leader. They won't strike unless the Alpha gives the signal. Can they coordinate? Maybe. But he notices something crucial. Their sense of smell is their greatest weakness. Luckily, he is packing pepper spray. One blast to the Alpha's face should send these mutts packing. Cold sweat pours down as he calculates the lethal risk. He has to time this perfectly. He needs a distraction to land a clean hit. Suddenly, a crazy but logical plan forms. Determined to protect the home he built from scratch, Seong-ho readies himself for a desperate gamble. He hurls a knife as bait. The Alpha dodges and lunges exactly like our hero predicted. Seong-ho rips open a portal, blinding the beast with spray before burying a blade in its eye. Defeated, the pack retreats into the shadows. Song-ho collapses, barely escaping the Reaper. Dingo nuzzles him. He gently strokes Dingo's head, whispering a solemn vow to finish what they started and avenge her. Only 15 days remain until total annihilation. With the basement organized, Seong-ho heads back into town. 68 hours without shut-eye has him hallucinating. He hits the hardware store and pharmacy for supplies. The wolf encounter drained his last bit of stamina. Honestly, he knows he just got incredibly lucky. If those were werewolves instead of Maine wolves, he would have been turned into literal mincemeat. He realizes he is slipping, focusing too much on immediate threats while ignoring the bigger variables. To survive the coming storm, he needs more land and a much more formidable fortress. Drone footage confirms his suspicions. The surrounding area is ripe for expansion. Young-jin spots him from a distance, while Song-ho is busy plotting his new farming layout. Once the second defense perimeter is up, he will need Bluetooth beacons to boost his signal range. His friend's shouting finally snaps him back to reality. What is he even doing here anyway? Seong-ho keeps it brief, claiming he is just out to grab some essential survival gear. Young-jin assumes he is looking for weapons, a weird guess, but then again nothing is normal anymore. Outside the hardware store, Kyung-jun reveals he's not the shopper. It's actually this total baddie, a new elite squad member. Seong-ho realizes his buddy just stumbled onto her. He's stopping her weapon spree, but she's stubbornly refusing. Better just hand over my survival guide. She isn't buying it. Pure icy glare. Ta Okbaki restaurant owner. Is that actually you? Confirmed. She's stunned by his cold, lethal glow-up. Not offended, she hands him her business card instead. Meet Dr. Jo Soo-young. Brains and beauty combined. Game Basics 101. Crash Course Doctor. Science can't explain this mindless game. Brain-dead mechanics. But Soo-young senses a secret. You're an awakener, aren't you? Exposed. Too sharp. Your explanations are way too vivid. No rookie. But she drops it. Thanks, bro. Hyung-jun is low-key salty now. Bro, you're not on Seong-ho's level. Harem expansion Jo Soo-young joins the roster. Spear sharpened. Itching for a blood test. Dingo, let's go avenge your mother. Protect the base. Eliminate all potential intruders. John Wick mode. The hunt begins. Wolves spotted. Dingo, take your position. Only 4, and where's the alpha? Owlbear spotted. It's shredding the pack. Convenient. Let the beast thin them out. No leader. The pack instantly crumbles. Zero coordination. Just pure mindless chaos. Hunt time. One wolf lunges forward. Webbed. The beast becomes a helpless puppy. Whimpering. No mercy. Spear through the heart. Target secured. 3 more points banked. Hyper-aggressive. They're locking onto my scent. Pincer attack. Ambushed from the side. Bug spray. Flanked on both sides. Gutted. A sneak attack comes from behind. Dingo tackle 3 more points. Easy. I am the danger here, puppies. Level 5. Special trait. Evolution unlocked. Invisible gate. Absolute stealth mode active. Remote hearing. Projection skills are live. Peekaboo. I see through my walls. Total transparency. My secret is safe. Finally, Song-ho can breathe easy. Stepping into a lethal dungeon blindly through his gate was a terrifying gamble, yet this new projection skill completely nukes that danger. Reaching level 5 unlocked this perk, hinting that even crazier rewards are coming his way. He never expected these low-tier levels to pay off so hard as he climbed higher. Still, the grind is real, and he needs to start by cleaning up his trail and burying the bodies. 48 hours after wiping out the wolves, Seong-ho is checking off his massive to-do list. Step 1. Scouting the other world. He deploys his drone, mapping out everything within a 1-kilometer radius. He spots plenty of harmless wildlife, but luckily, not a single goblin or kobold has crawled into sight yet. The zone is monster-free. Now Seong-ho targets the goblin hive located 30 kilometers out. A nest that big likely houses hobgoblins, meaning a full-on raid will be a total nightmare to clear. Feeling secure for now, Seong-ho decides it is time to expand. He goes full-on Chainsaw Man mode. With his own little Pochita by his side, he shreds through timber, leveling the landscape for his new base. He revamps the hideout into a legit fortress. Dingo pulls MVP moves, helping mark out a massive perimeter. Playing it ultra-safe, Seong-ho installs double-layered barbed wire and starts digging a defensive moat. He needs to carve out 2 more meters of depth to turn the wire into a lethal trap. While working, he catches the news via his portal. The government just announced a massive investigation into all awakeners. Back in reality, he hits up hardware stores, stocking up on high-end gear and professional toolsets. On his way home, he takes a detour to scout out Chil Chen's secret lair. Doubling down, Seong-ho even rents a bike and a mini excavator to speed up his construction project. With a bit of practice, these will be game changers. Meanwhile, his blue toad remains the ultimate support. He is microdosing poison to build immunity, aiming to eventually coat his favorite blade in pure lethality. Back in his room, a notification leaves him shook. Survivor 1, a sweat with 4,500 hours, joined. This makes Seong-ho question the Yoido massacre and the government's suspicious media blackout. Something smells fishy with the president's erratic behavior and the official narrative being pushed. Locked away, these three events might look random, but our boy senses a deeper, darker connection. His gut tells him Survivor 1 is definitely in bed with the president trading secrets for power. He is worried because he knows this guy is playing the long game with insider knowledge. As a top-tier hoarder, Survivor 1 would have definitely traded his intel for a massive government bunker. He played his cards perfectly, choosing the highest authority to maximize his leverage in this dying world. The plot thickens. Seong-ho wonders if this guy is just capping, but my dream does not fit the puzzle. His head is spinning from the theories, but he finally nails down a solid answer. If Survivor 1 and my dream are allied, Seong-ho needs to pivot his strategy immediately. Switching gears, we see Mr. Four Eyes creating a fresh VR profile, hoping for a fast response. A delay could ruin his schedule, but my dream replies instantly. Seriously, these gamers really need to touch grass. Bro probably has zero social life, but he still needs to verify if this guy is legit. They set up a meeting in a VR chat room, dropping right into a blank white space. It is giving major classroom of the elite vibes. The two players stare each other down. My dream is clearly tilted by the other guy's weird alias and that ridiculous duck mask he is wearing. Duckface does not flinch. My dream realizes he is dealing with a seasoned pro hiding their identity. Still, the mystery remains. My dream demands answers to 3 high-stakes questions before he trusts this duck. Question 1. What is a werewolf's max leap? Seong-ho doesn't skip a beat, answering 3 meters instantly. Next, he crushes the owl-bear weakness question. Too easy. Light is the obvious answer. Finally, he asks about zombie evolution tiers. Duckface explains that these undead are not just about bites. They actually feast on nutrients to fuel their bodies, allowing them to mutate further. This allows them to evolve into ghouls, though some reach an enhanced state even before that. My dream throws a curveball 4th question, but our boy shuts him down, refusing to leak the truth. A chain of cryptic events sets the stage. Our hero chuckles, forced to admit that Duckface is a true veteran. Irritated, our protagonist snaps at the guy to get Survivor 1 into the chat immediately. But there is a snag. My dream stalls without offering a single excuse for the holdup. Our duck-faced lead calls total cap. Shifting gears, the man tips his hat, hinting at a looming catastrophe. Our boy starts questioning the guy's sanity. It feels like he is just spewing filler dialogue to buy time. Suddenly, a cold shiver spikes down his back as the trap finally becomes clear. My dream vanishes from the chat, just as our hero realizes he has been doxxed in real time. Right on cue, a man storms the cafe with guards barking orders to seal every exit. The receptionist insists on payment for their session, but the intruder roughly seizes her arm. He snarls that they are hunting someone not playing games. This aggressive shift sends alarm bells through Seong-ho. My dream was supposed to be playing it low-key, yet here he is going on a full-blown offensive. Check it out, this guy's ability is peak Lelouch, instantly hijacking the receptionist's mind with total control. Now our boy is in deep trouble. He needs to vanish fast or he will be next on the list. He bolts to the restroom and triggers his dimensional gate. Meanwhile, the hunter is closing in, spamming mind control pulses to unmask Seong-ho's identity. Every corner has been searched except one. The hunt leads straight to the bathroom. Brimming with arrogance, the villain kicks open every single stall. He wonders if our guy is some stealth-class assassin. Imagine the vibe check if he just finds someone mid-business. Either way, my dream is dangerously confident about flushing out stealth-type targets. He hurls a bucket of water to map the room, swinging his arms to snag a hidden Seong-ho. Luckily, our boy was one step ahead. He summoned the portal but plastered it flat against the wall. The villain is literally nose-to-nose with the gate but can't see a thing. After the search, my dream scoffs. Realizing his stealth theory was trash, he pivots, assuming Seong-ho must be a high-tier movement specialist. This budget Nanami orders his squad to sweep the perimeter, promising a fat stack of cash for a capture. Watching from the void, Seong-ho reflects on his duality, a rich elite in reality but a humble gamer. He actually feels grateful to my dream for finally stripping away all his lingering doubts. The inner conflict that plagued him is gone. Now he knows exactly what needs to be done. Stepping out of the shadows, he chooses violence. No more holding back against those who crave blood. His enemy sighs, still hunting for a ghost. He still thinks he is tracking a speed-type player. But even a veteran with thousands of hours won't find this target easily. Then, the unexpected happens. Our boy manifests behind him like a vengeful spirit. Hi. My dream sees death in the mirror. A venomous spear bites into his leg, instantly paralyzing him. His attempt to farm aura just ended in disaster. Before he can even process it, Seong-ho slams his skull into the tiles with brutal force. He mocks the villain, letting him feel the toxic fire now surging through his nervous system. Every time the loser tries to speak, Seong-ho silences him like a dog. He grips his blade tight, reminding him that the real apocalypse and the tutorial haven't even officially started yet. With a terrifying glare, Seong-ho shreds the man's holster, his voice dripping with cold malice. He savagely declares that even if he ends his life right here, the system won't penalize him. The cold steel hovers over the guy's jugular, forcing him to play the role of a quiet, obedient victim. Finally, the guy learns to shut up. His body collapses, turned into a useless pile of flesh by the poison. Question 1. Seong-ho demands to know why he tried to betray Survivor 1 and hunt the innocent. The hunter is now the prey, a paralyzed, pathetic monster waiting to be harvested. Seong-ho seizes the gun, reminding him that this is the tax for trying to cage a lion. He unsheathes his knife, delivering a bone-chilling threat that he is ready to take a life. By the time the rest of the squad arrives, our boy has already vanished into the night. He retreats to his safe house before slipping back into the other dimension to dismantle his new prize. He starts scanning the guy's ID. Meet Kwon Kyung-jun, a late-30s golf club owner with a shady vibe. This man pulls the strings of 3 bunkers. Plus, he is a total sugar daddy, living off female attention and influence. And the cash flow. Judging by his stats, Seong-ho suspects this dude is packing some seriously broken high-tier power. Based on his insane playtime, it's obvious his skill is all about devious mind control. Talk about a toxic build. Now Seong-ho holds all the cards. Naturally, skills do not just level up because you are a dedicated grindlord. Clocking thousands of hours isn't enough. Even Valorant or Counter-Strike sweats spend 10,000 hours gaming, only to stay hard stuck in bronze. Regardless, Seong-ho knows this game prioritizes survival over everything else. His portal skill is essentially a veteran's cheat code. For now, he keeps this theory close to his chest, until he can verify another veteran's ability. Next, Seong-ho checks his firearm, sensing the approaching end of days. Driven by cold conviction, he treks through the dense woods, trailing Dingo. Suddenly, they hit a grim scene. The pup alerts him to a gruesome sight. Fallen cops and mangled goblin corpses litter the blood-stained forest floor. Staying ice cold, our protagonist inspects the carnage. Shockingly, he finds one officer still clinging to a thread of life. No lethal wounds, but a nasty paralysis poison has him locked down. The real red flag: his sidearm is missing. Maybe he was unarmed, but Seong-ho isn't taking chances as he drags the bodies together for safety. He advises them to wait 30 minutes for the poison to fade, then pivots to scan the area. Eyeing the goblin remains, he spots fresh bullet wounds. This confirms the officers were definitely packing heat earlier. So where did the gun vanish to? After a moment of deep calculation, a chilling thought strikes Seong-ho. He realizes a rare gold goblin is responsible. And honestly, the thrill of the hunt starts surging. He is claiming that kill for himself. Plan ready, our hero hits up emergency services to report the location. He leaves a detailed note with coordinates and specific orders to burn or bury those nasty goblin bodies. Monsters are already public knowledge, so staying low-key is a waste of time. It is time to get aggressive. It is a race against the clock. He hopes his miniature murder pup can help him track the scent. Elsewhere, a brutal skirmish erupts between a goblin and an unawakened human. The creature easily evades the clumsy strike. 3 monsters remain. One terrified survivor questions his captain if this suicide mission is actually the right move. Why is he playing tank without a single ability? Just then, the captain finally activates his supernatural power. He wields the power of psychokinesis. Major downside: this skill has a massive cast time that leaves them vulnerable. He levitates a hail of stones, launching them to crush the goblin. He is strictly playing the support role. His partner desperately asks when backup will arrive. The captain just received some pretty grim news instead. The main force headed for Gaishan Mountain was intercepted. They are currently pinned down and unable to advance. This news rattles the unawakened guy to his core. He is ready to bail and save his own skin, but the captain refuses to retreat. Suddenly, 3 goblins pounce, nearly overwhelming the defenseless man in seconds. More psychokinetic rocks rain down, shattering their skulls. Luckily, these monsters are weaker than their in-game counterparts. The captain demands he stay calm and keep fighting. If they can just clear these low-level mobs and take down the hobgoblin squad, they will secure a massive lead. But the captain's ego is showing. He gets distracted by his own lecturing and eats a mace to the hand. Now he is badly mangled. His concentration breaks and he loses control. It is humiliating how a low-tier goblin just totally outplayed him. A perfect counter-strategy from a monster. Talk about a skill issue. Now they are sitting ducks. The goblin trio closes in, lunging from every direction. It looks like the end of the line for them. Then a bolt whistles through the air, piercing a goblin's skull. 2 more shots follow in rapid succession. The remaining monsters are tagged, leaving the duo completely baffled. Who is their mysterious savior in the shadows? They scan the dark tree line, searching for the archer. Cut to Seong-ho coolly wielding his tactical combat bow. He briefly wonders if wasting precious ammo on these 2 was even worth the hassle. Still, Seong-ho is satisfied. He just scored some high-value intel regarding the other awakeners. Fact 1. These guys were blocked from ascending the peak. Something powerful is gatekeeping that mountain. Fact 2. These goblins were already half dead. Connecting the dots, Seong-ho prepares his next move. Seong-ho's mind is already racing with his next move. He's crafted a lethal strategy to dismantle the goblin pack. The plan is deceptively simple. It all starts with a well-aimed stone to bait the first monster. Once that bald green freak is triggered, Seong-ho lures him straight toward the shimmering dimensional rift. Timing is everything. As soon as the goblin enters the kill zone, Seong-ho strikes from the void. His ultimate edge, he can track his prey through the portal while remaining completely invisible to the world. The first target lets out a blood-curdling screech, as it's mangled instantly, alerting the rest of the horde. Using the gate as leverage, our MC rips his spear from the goblin's flesh with brutal efficiency. Enter the hobgoblin. Thanks to its boosted perception, it immediately spots its fallen soldier. Instead of looking for an intruder, it starts accusing its own squad of treachery and murder. Total mayhem erupts. The group's trust shatters, forcing the confused goblins to abandon their paranoid leader. Seizing the moment, the cold-blooded Seong-ho steps out of the shadows. He executes a perfect decapitation, proving that the first strike is always the most lethal. Rinse and repeat. So far, the massacre is proceeding exactly as he calculated. But there's a catch. Seong-ho has to keep a sharp eye on the monster's erratic behavior. The hobgoblin prepares to clash, while the gold goblin dips with the loot. Talk about a messy breakup. Things just got spicy. Our boy has to pivot to a high-stakes gamble, as Captain Mustard closes in. He's closing the distance fast. With no room to dodge, Seong-ho braces for a bone-crushing impact. Even with a successful block, the sheer force sends him flying into a nearby trunk. Bruised and shaking, Seong-ho is in a tight spot. The hobgoblin lunges forward for the final kill. One wrong move, and he's finished. That massive mace is hurtling toward him like a freight train. As his HP hits rock bottom, Seong-ho triggers his trump card Survival Instinct. Eyes glowing with a golden light, he reacts instantly. But instead of countering the boss, he pivots toward the gold goblin. It's time to put Kyung-jun's handgun to good use. Bang! A clean headshot sends the gold goblin to the afterlife. Instantly, he summons his portal. Phase 1 of the grind is complete, but he still has a massive problem breathing down his neck. That ugly beast is still hungry. Seong-ho brings a gun to a fistfight and starts unloading lead. The hobgoblin wasn't ready for that American breathing technique. It gets absolutely wrecked by the firepower. Payback's a bitch. Seong-ho carves up the monster's hide with stylish, lethal precision. Boom level 6 reached and 16 points secured. This brutal mission is finally in the bag. He inspects his new loot, Terrain Sense. Now he can read the battlefield like the back of his hand. Wild part is everything he touched during the fight evolved into permanent high-tier gear. No time to celebrate. He senses a search party closing in on his location. With the spoils of war in hand, he steps through his portal to lay low in his hideout. Fast forward to the next morning, our boy is woken up by his loyal furry best friend. One look at his watch and he's shocked. Those wounds knocked him out for an entire 24 hours. Survival instinct is no joke. He vows to save that risky power for life or death scenarios only. Time for the unboxing. He lays out the gold goblin's treasures across his table. We've got revolvers, daggers, and rare gear. These monsters were seriously packing some heat. The guns are cool, but the real MVP is that shimmering mithril knife. This blade has permanent invariance, a god-tier trait that's almost impossible to find in this game. This knife is immune to the looming disease catastrophe. But one mystery still keeps him up. How did a low-level goblin get its hands on a 100-point item? It just doesn't add up. Upon closer inspection, he notices tiny flaws in the metal. That's when the realization hits him. These goblins are evolving. Their gear is too advanced for mindless monsters to craft alone. Is a civilization-wide mutation occurring? If so, even more terrifying genius-level goblins are lurking out there. He's tinkering with the mechanics like a mad scientist. It's all pure theory for now, but he's definitely cooking something up for later. For the moment, though, he's more focused on unboxing those loot satchels and praying for a massive jackpot. Seong-ho pulls out a cluster of shade grapes. These rare fruits grant instant night vision, a literal survival essential in this world. These grapes are exactly why those goblins own the night. Opening his status window, our guy checks his current progress. He's grinning at the numbers. His growth rate is absolutely eclipsing the stats he had back in the original game. With the basic grinding handled, Seong-ho knows it's time to hop back to reality. He triggers his skill for the jump. Stepping through the rift, his phone immediately goes nuclear with notifications. The signal returns, and it's pure chaos. Texts from Hyungjun, Mi-kyung, and even Soo-yoon flood his inbox, all desperate to check if he's still breathing. With all this attention, he's starting to feel like the main character. His first stop, the local fitness center. Seong-ho swings the gym doors open to meet the squad. Before he can even say hello, they're already swarming him. They're beyond relieved to see him in one piece. And yeah, the one piece is real, don't ever forget it. Noticing some new faces, Seong-ho asks about the strangers. Hyungjun introduces them as his official new party members. Lee Kyung-hoon and Kim Bora offer polite greetings. Seong-ho expected a full house, but one member is currently missing. Turns out the last teammate is busy scouting for high-end camping gear at a nearby discount warehouse. Seong-ho's surprised such a place even exists, but Mi-kyung confirms it's a modern, high-tech survivalist's dream. It just opened recently. Hyungjun asks if he's seen the viral madness blowing up on the national news cycle. Seong-ho nods, having already caught the clips on MeTube. Honestly, they should probably start their own channel there. That doctor who dissected the Gazon Mountain Goblin is officially losing it, spiraling into a total state of panic. He's screaming at everyone to prepare for the coming apocalypse. Meanwhile, the president is calling urgent national meetings. The government is scrambling to track down the game's creator. Hyungjun then asks about Seong-ho's next big objective. The party is leaning on his pro-gamer knowledge. However, Kyung-hoon is clearly annoyed by Hyungjun's constant questioning. He scoffs, claiming it's obvious that goblins provide points. In his head, killing one mob is an easy level up. To him, the only objective is hoarding supplies. Song-ho watches this dude spew absolute cap with total confidence. He has no clue how wrong he actually is. Finally, Seong-ho speaks up to correct his blatant misinformation. This arrogant prick cuts him off, demanding to know if Seong-ho even played the game at a high level. He's acting like a stubborn keyboard warrior who refuses to listen. Seong-ho plays dumb to keep his identity hidden. That's all the opening this guy needs to keep yapping. He claims that trusting the online community is a rookie mistake. Bora, the other girl, shifts the conversation. She's curious about the zombie spores and how the infection actually spreads. She wants to know the exact conditions of the virus. In response, this dude drops the most ridiculous take yet. He claims anyone who makes contact with an awakened person becomes immune to the infection. It's total nonsense. Seong-ho is floored by the stupidity. Kyung-hoon slams the table, desperate to maintain his alpha status. Just because he's awakened, he thinks his word is law. He tells the non-awakened players they're safe around him. It's a mountain of lies, but Bora seems totally sold, clinging to him like he's some legendary survival expert. Mi-kyung speaks up next, asking if he's managed to clear the nightmare-level tutorials. Kyung-hoon cuts her off instantly. He promises to be her knight in shining armor, so she shouldn't worry. This pretentious clown is seriously grating. Song-ho gives the theory a little credit, but he knows there's zero proof that awakened status equals immunity. This conversation is officially brain-dead. Now he understands why Hyungjun was so desperate for his help. Tired of the antics, Seong-ho stands up to leave. Even though his friends beg him to stay, he's done. He has no interest in sharing meta-strats with a troll like this. He bids them farewell, planning to meet later. Leaving the club, he begins mapping out locations to farm massive points before the iron disease strikes. He's definitely hitting that camping gear store next. After finalizing his route, he heads back to his home base. He pulls up to his house only to find the elegant Soo-yoon waiting for him. She looks serious. It turns out she didn't just come to talk, she actually has a mysterious gift to hand over to him. Song-ho stands frozen for a second, caught off guard by her sudden appearance at his doorstep. The tension is thick as she reaches into her bag. This encounter might change everything for his next mission. Soo-yeon waited with icy patience. She reveals a first aid kit, but it is actually packed with heavy-duty painkillers. Plus, restricted antibiotics you cannot score without a prescription. It is an elite, high-tier gift for our boy. Seong-ho is floored by the gesture. The doctor even scribbles her home address onto the pouch, marking her territory. He is totally confused by her moves, but this gorgeous medic finds it only natural to swap locations. Since she knows him, he should know her. By the way, I am definitely Team Soo-young on this one. Mi-kyung gives off major low-budget vibes compared to her. Bidding him farewell, Soo-young rushes to meet the director. Suddenly, she halts with a sly grin. She reminds him he still needs to pay for the medicine. That address was not free after all. Seong-ho stands there completely unable to decode her mysterious intentions. They part ways and time blurs. He spends the following hours scouring every corner of the city. He stockpiles gear from various shops and constructs a reinforced bunker using heavy-duty sandwich panels. Remember that excavator he rented? Song-ho pushes that machine to its absolute limit for the construction. Global tensions reach a boiling point. The public is spiraling, while politicians bicker over the terrifying truth. Skeptics and believers clash. This madness triggers a United Nations summit regarding the American president's visit to Korea. The leader of the United States is arriving. Finally, the storm that changes everything starts brewing. The HSA detects an anomaly that defies all logic. Something far beyond their wildest nightmares is approaching Earth. The asteroid that triggers the zombie apocalypse is hurtling toward us. Fast forward 4 days into the future. Seong-ho arrives at Gamcheon port, gazing at the sea. This is the stage for the Russian ship event. With the coast clear, he slips into a rotting building to make his final endgame preparations. He flings the gates open, fueled by one goal. He needs an arsenal of high-caliber firearms from that ship. The risk of turning into a monster is massive, but the guns are worth the gamble. See, zombie spores are lethal particle beams. There is simply no hiding from this cosmic pathogen. Whether he turns now or in 5 days makes no difference for a lone wolf like him. With no family left to protect, Song-ho fully accepts this grim cinematic reality. He could hide in the other world with Dingo, but that would mean losing his human essence. He gears up, making it clear this is not a death wish. It is a calculated elite move. He is taking the dangerous path for the ultimate reward. That is just how the game of life works. Checking the hidden patch notes, he expects a 10-point weapon, likely a heavy ebony club. He wonders just how fragile these early game zombies will be. Then there is the point system. Once the asteroid hits point, influences will change everything. The level of detail in the game is terrifying. It is obvious the creator saw this coming. Song-ho is on his phone when the situation turns south. An emergency text flashes a tsunami warning. The third omen has arrived as the tide turns violent. Surging waves swallow the shoreline, rising higher with every aggressive pulse of the dark ocean. Out in the deep, a massive vessel is being tossed like a toy by the raging, relentless sea. With the city submerged, he must choose. Will he hunt down monsters or the ravenous undead? Natural disasters make humans feel like ants. Yet he must navigate this chaos using his craft. Seong-ho guns it, launching his boat and leaping from a building with insane cinematic precision. Time is a luxury he does not have. He must clear this before government agents swarm the area. He finally anchors to the ship. So far, so good. The best part, Awakeners are totally immune. Kyung-hoon's crazy theory was actually spot on. The virus cannot touch our main man at all. Feeling zero discomfort, he scales the ladder. Phase 2 of his master plan is officially a go. Undead freaks are everywhere. Dressed in shorts with a mace and shield, he looks like a total warrior. These zombies follow game rules. They do not infect others, but they treat every living thing as prey. They see everything as snacks and evolve as they feed. Song-ho does not hesitate for a second. He slams into the horde, pulverizing the first zombie with a devastating heavy shield bash. He raises his mace, mocking the creature to brace its jaw before delivering a brutal finishing strike. He gives them a brutal facelift by smashing their skulls in. Talk about an easy win. Song-ho wonders if these zombies got nerfed. Gaining 2 points, he recalls, when it took 2 solid hits to end them. Now one shot is all it takes. But remembering those orcs, he keeps his guard up, no room for mistakes. Fumbling twice would cost him his life. Peering down the hall, he spots a cluster of undead trapped in a room. A few are still roaming, so he lunges forward, absolutely bullying them with zero effort. Aiming for the wheelhouse to score a pistol, a sudden gunshot rings out, catching him completely off guard. Survival on this ship should be impossible. He sprints toward the noise, realizing something about the lucky few. Sometimes non-awakeners survive the spores just by being near a player. Pure random luck. He needs this person alive for intel, but by the time he arrives, it's already game over for the poor guy. The corpse clutches a photo of a loved one. In this timeline, Naruto Uzumaki never made it to the 7th Hokage. Silver lining though, Seong-ho just scored a free firearm from the guy's cold hands. He offers a brief, respectful rest before heading out. Tragedy. It's basically his second language now. In this new world, sorrow is just the daily special. It's the new normal after the collapse. While unhooking the anchor, he knows he'll have to cut down his own kind just to stay breathing. A jet ski zooms past, shocking him. Turns out another player is already here grinding for points just like him. They cross paths, but our boy dips with his loot. He couldn't care less about the stranger's fate. Next morning, the news breaks. The game developer has vanished without a single trace. Answers are nowhere to be found. But the president, he saw the proof and started taking massive W's in crisis management. Bottom line, Seong-ho realizes the nation's leader actually thinks exactly like he does. One last task. He dials Lee Yu-beom, the head honcho, at the countermeasure headquarters. To prove his identity, he drops a massive truth bomb the exact moment Doomsday officially kicks off. He brings up those hobgoblin gunshot wounds. Yu-beom is shook. It really is the same player from before. He makes the admin record every detail at warp speed. Dates, hours, every single minute counts now. Even that specific afternoon package delivery. He's low-key rooting for the government to pull this off. Armed with these spoilers, he wishes them luck in the upcoming slaughter. The president's moves are savage. Over on the forums, people finally realize things are going south fast. Power and internet are on borrowed time. Still, Seong-ho takes the online panic with a grain of salt. He's skeptical it'll all happen at once. Then the sirens blare, citizens are told to stockpile everything immediately. Go home and prep for 4 days. Soldiers are patrolling the streets, putting a hard stop to all daily life. A final statement is coming July 20th. Watching the chaos, Seong-ho admits this is the perfect strategic response. He feels a slight pang of guilt for not warning the masses about the impending nightmare sooner. If he'd known the government was this cracked, he would have gone full throttle right from the jump. He could have cheesed his trait way more. Total missed opportunity, but he copes by knowing he couldn't stop the apocalypse anyway. No use crying over spilled milk. He just needs to stick to the promise he made himself. Look, he's no caped crusader or hero of justice. He's just a regular guy trying to survive. Total lockdowns and quarantines soon paralyze the globe. Travel becomes a literal impossibility overnight. So 3 days before the world ends, Song-ho spends his time chilling in his private dimension. He keeps digging, though the pace is slow. He also hoards every farming and cooking video he can find. Because once the internet dies, it's gone. 2 days left, he scouts the perimeter with Dingo, feeling pretty blessed. He finds golden apples. It makes him wonder if this soil is enchanted or just straight up blessed by the gods. One day to go and we've got a mystery. 2 packs of sweet potato jellies have vanished from his stash. A lone dried grape sits in their place. Prime suspect Dingo. But the good boy just shakes his head. He gets all forceful and teasing, trying to make the pup crack and spill the beans. The poor little baby starts wailing, trying its hardest to prove its innocence. Smash that like button right now. Justice for Dingo. Realizing his pup was framed, Seong-ho dives into the CCTV archives to hunt for the real culprit. Eager for answers, he fires up the laptop, only to freeze in shock at the sight of armored beetles swarming his home. These tiny invaders slipped through the doggy door, snatching the jelly, but leaving a single grape as a bizarre tribute. Seriously, that is top-tier wholesomeness. One beetle even bows to the lens, proving these little dudes possess eerie intelligence. With his interest piqued, Seong-ho is dying to get a closer look at these mysterious high-intelligence insects. But safety first, he seals the doggy door shut, leaving poor Dingo whining in pure puppy dog heartbreak. Time is up. With guests arriving soon, our lead tears open a dimensional rift and vanishes back into the other realm. Later, Seong-ho rallies his core squad, breathing a sigh of relief that every single one of them survived the chaos. Despite the ironclad lockdown, a fresh face catches his eye, a mysterious newcomer joining their ranks. Meet Yoo-hyun, the team's final piece and a total elite pretty boy who has already unlocked his hidden awakened powers. He is a total gaming noob, but as an electrical engineering major, his technical skills are absolutely cracked. Vibe check passed. Seong-ho welcomes him while playing it cool as a humble non-awakener, keeping the formal pleasantries flowing. Business time. Seong-ho cuts to the chase, demanding a full intel debrief from every member of the circle. First up is Hyung-jun, this discount Yuji clone who is ready to spill what he saw. He recounts a chilling call with his ex-wife that went dead, triggering a desperate frantic search for his missing daughter. During his trek, he stumbled upon massive military blockades choking the highways, hinting at a sinister large-scale operation. His digging revealed a desperate government scramble to clear out everyone living near the massive petrochemical complex. Next, our sophisticated Dr. Su-yan drops a bombshell she witnessed secret bunkers being fast-tracked in the local park. It sounds like a conspiracy, but the evidence is undeniable. Then Mi-young steps up with a story from the market. She overheard whispers of a political coup. Top officials, defying the president, were silenced and thrown into shadow detention. This intel is gold. Seong-ho realizes the pieces are falling into place. The finale is closer than anyone imagined. The president's move is transparent now. He is ahead of the curve, which begs the question, what is the real endgame? Why the interrogation? Because in this high-stakes network, every piece of data needs a rock-solid justification to connect the dots. Sure, he could flex his veteran status to win them over, but that would paint a massive target on his back. Seong-ho commands the room, urging everyone to brace themselves for the heavy truth he is about to drop. He exposes the president's twisted goal, a controlled apocalypse. The revelation hits the room like a physical blow, leaving everyone breathless. He connects the dots, citing the eerie lockdowns and the total paralysis of every major national facility as cold proof. Only one motive explains such radical, lightning-fast changes to the nation's infrastructure. They are preparing for the end. Su-yan's brilliant mind sharpens. She realizes with a jolt that the world's expiration date is practically tomorrow. She realizes the government isn't guessing, they know the exact moment the nightmare begins. Seong-ho gives a grim nod. July 20th. That is the date. Yoo-hyun panics, reaching for his phone to warn his family, but Seong-ho shuts him down. No time for hysteria. In this brutal reality, your survival outweighs everything. It is cold logic, but the only way. He issues a chilling warning by sunrise. Any one of them could be a mindless, flesh-eating monster. As death's shadow looms, Seong-ho reveals his ace, a stack of classified files that hold the key to survival. These documents contain a complete walkthrough for the tutorial phase. Hyung-jun, skeptical as ever, demands to know his source. I watch the streams. Seong-ho lies smoothly. He even offers Mi-young a rare mock apology for his secrecy. She brushes it off, admitting she has been playing her own game of shadows. With these files, the power dynamic shifts. This intel is their new Bible. Seong-ho orders them to follow his survival manual to the letter, no exceptions. The goal? Ace, the tutorial. As midnight strikes, the countdown to the world's final day officially begins. The calm before the storm. For 32 grueling days, Seong-ho maxed out his stats to survive the coming hellscape. Despite his grind, doubt lingers. Could his anonymous playstyle become his ultimate undoing when the stakes turn lethal? No turning back now. Our hero faces the abyss with zero regrets, confident in every high-stakes move he has made. Above, humanity's last stand begins. Missiles streak across the sky, colliding with the massive asteroid in a fiery embrace. He gazes up, wondering, is this truly the inevitable extinction of the human race, or just a new beginning? The apocalypse is here. As the sun rises and lockdowns vanish, Seong-ho's master plan is finally ready for action. He reinforced his lair with ballistic-grade glass and reinforced steel. Next, his lethal daily ritual commenced. Pumping venom into his veins, he forged immunity. Then the real training session began. No cap, he's crushing 300 one-arm push-ups while literally toxic. Even Saitama would respect this grind. Gearing up in tactical drip, Song-ho shared one final meal with his loyal hound. 9 o'clock approached as he drifted off. Suddenly, the screen flickered to life, signaling the end. The president appeared, his grim face, declaring martial law and a total lockdown of all roads. Song-ho felt a rare surge of respect. No other leader could have handled this collapse better. He provided the nation a dignified finale. Witnessing the fall, Song-ho gripped the remote tight. The finale was bitter, yet unavoidable. This was the trial humanity had to face, or perish trying. But Song-ho isn't a newbie. He's a battle-hardened veteran. Only 4 hours until the spores hit. He spent 2 hours in the alternate dimension, securing his stash and gathering essential loot. Our lead prepped for the post-Iron Disease world. While he was away, the modern world crumbled. Society collapsed into carnage. Brother turned against brother as every shred of morality vanished instantly. A disheveled giant stood amidst the wreck, welcoming death before a car finally ended his misery. Psychopaths unleashed their bloodlust without guilt. It was the end game. Real talk. How would you survive? Drop your survival plans in the comments. Could you handle a world-ending event like this one? A blonde thug drove on unfazed by the body. His crew didn't care about the damaged ride. After all, the Iron Disease would soon render every engine completely useless. One thug aimed his bat skyward, taunting the loser watching from above. He has beef with Song-ho. He plans to farm our hero for points. Song-ho just finds his ego absolutely ridiculous. Suddenly, flyers rained down. Even facing extinction, the government tried to maintain a facade of care. Their altruism contrasted sharply with Song-ho's cold, calculated obsession with his own survival. Unity could have trivialized the apocalypse, but Song-ho knows humanity isn't built that way. Crumpling the paper, he dismissed such idealism. It was time to finalize his own master plan. Only 3 minutes left. Song-ho checked his oxygen reserves, praying his stash would be enough. He's already mapped out every scavenge route in the city to replenish his vital supplies. Staring at his watch, a stray thought hit: what if he forgot to remove it before the turn? Overthinking was a luxury he couldn't afford. He donned his helmet as the clock struck 1. The spores arrived. Stealing his resolve, he kicked his bike to life. Now the grand plan begins. The infection exploded. Spores choked the streets, draining the life from every soul they touched. Only ravenous purple-hued ghouls remained, their predatory senses honing in on the slightest sound. Song-ho gunned it, weaving through the undead. Surprisingly, the streets weren't as packed as expected. Most had transformed within their homes, dying in the silent embrace of their families. His only real curiosity, finding another survivor who had defied the inevitable transformation. Things were looking up. He banked into a shortcut to maintain his momentum. Avoiding combat was key while farming loot. Luckily, the storefront shutters remained firmly locked down. He swung his sledgehammer, shattering the glass like a pro before breaching the interior. Opening the portal speed was everything. He grabbed supplies with clinical efficiency. He had a small window before the spores achieved total neural dominance over the horde. Reaching the hardware store before the zombies synchronized their assault was his top priority. Our MC was speed looting, tossing every useful scrap into his inventory. He secured a mountain of meds for his dog. Pharmacy cleared, he checked his timing. He was ahead of schedule, or so he believed. Fate had other plans, though. He hit a snag. The hardware store was double locked. Naturally, he'd already planned for this. Out came the gas tanks. He fired up the oxygen cutter, but there was one loud problem. Surrounded by rot, Song-ho recalls that despite their nerfed tracking, these monsters home in on noise instantly. It barely took a heartbeat for the undead to lock onto the sound and swarm his location. Facing a wall of death, he draws on his experience from the Russian ship Nightmare to stay cool. These are level 1 weaklings, mere nutrient-hungry shells that are practically begging to be put down for good. He charges into the fray, his heavy mace whistling through the air with lethal crushing intent. One skull shatters instantly. Song-ho knows even a total scrub could win if they hit the vitals. As 2 more lunge, he pulverizes one's head, before swinging back to flatten the other's ribs. Honestly, this apocalyptic nightmare feels like playing the game on easy mode, compared to the original. Each kill nets him 2 points, making this a pure farming session. Now, how to handle the rest? Strategy is key. He needs to funnel the horde into a narrow alley to avoid being overwhelmed. But his path is fixed. He has a vital objective to reach first. Spotting an oxygen cutter, a devious plan forms. It's time to nuke this entire crowd in one glorious explosion. He braces behind his shield as the hungry mob closes in, giving these brain-dead freaks a final warning. He only steered clear of these ugly meat sacks because wasting farming time is the ultimate sin. Crushing faces left and right, Song-ho mocks the horde, declaring he was never actually threatened by them. His trash talk acts like a total taunt, causing the entire mob to crash toward him simultaneously. He flexes that Gojo-level speed, vanishing before they can touch him. Total aura farm, no cap. With 5,500 hours in that hellish game, he's the ultimate veteran. No zombie stands a chance. Without elite ghouls present, these basic zombies thinking they can win is a literal joke to him. A massive shield slam clears the path, sending bodies flying as he dominates the front line. This whole circus show was exhausting, but watching them fall is the perfect post-fight entertainment reward. He sparks his lighter over a heap of corpses, ready to send these monsters straight to oblivion. After the hardware store massacre, he grabs his loot and sets his sights on the local precinct. Upon arrival, he finds the armory stripped bare. Every piece of high-tier gear has already been scavenged. It's like a real-life battle royale out here. Disappointed. Nah, he's just getting started on a better plan. He spots a body with a tactical pack and hits the jackpot pistols, tasers, and vital comms gear inside. He pushes forward to his fourth major loot zone. Progress is smooth thanks to the detection skill he ripped from that dead hobgoblin's hands. With maxed out perception and handiwork, he ghosts past the undead like they aren't even there. The zombies are beginning to swarm together, but he's already back at the motorcycle dealership. Only a rugged ATV remains. He loads his supplies, turning the vehicle into a mobile base. Checking his stats, he slips back to his personal dimension for a much-needed break to clear debuffs. This gate ability is basically a god-tier cheat code. Refreshed, he prepares to dive back into reality. While choosing his next target, two arrogant bullies show up, mocking him for being a normal human. These punks decide to harass a non-awakened guy, even blasting a lightning bolt straight at his groin. He slides back, protecting his vitals while realizing this creep's weird obsession has gone way too far. Tactical mind engaged, he readies his dimensional gate for a lethal counterstrike. As one punk watches the perimeter, Song-ho coldly considers if he should just end their lives. The bully struts forward with unearned ego, unaware he's walking into a trap. In the tutorial phase, the system probably won't even flag him as a murderer for this. And even if it does, it doesn't matter. He's ready to do what's necessary to survive. Using his invisible gate, he vanishes into thin air, leaving his opponent dazed and confused. He could easily end this blonde brat, but the weight of real-life killing still feels heavy. Instead of a blade, he uses a rear-naked choke, forcing the punk to face reality. As the bully gasps, realizing Seong-ho is an awakener, our boy demands to know their true motive. Turns out, this delusional clown thinks he actually snatched Song-ho's girl, obsessing over the memory of seeing our lead in bed with her. After dropping him with a devastating back kick, Seong-ho towers over the loser, coldly declaring this to be his absolute final warning. Seong-ho reveals his unwavering code against hurting the innocent, but the punk just sneers at his supposed moral high ground. In his mind, they're cut from the same cloth, two selfish opportunists who only give a damn about their own survival. He pulls the trigger, but our boy just taps into his insane aura, weaving through the shot like he's unlocked Ultra Instinct. Surprisingly, Seong-ho agrees with the blonde. Thanks to that idiot's big mouth, he's officially been given the green light to end him. He seizes the punk's head, whispering that he's just as much trash as the rest. Truth is, Seong-ho simply hated admitting it. Then he absolutely shatters the guy's jaw. Absolute chills, fam, because we finally have a main character who doesn't hold back. Seong-ho had survived over 100 death matches. Even after dying in every single one, the phantom pain couldn't stop his trembling. The reality of taking a life in the flesh was different. Just then, another coward crawls up, but Seong-ho spares him. Instead, he coldly tells him to watch his back, just as a horde of zombies lunges for the terrified man. They were ready to feast on this budget, Bertolt. Within seconds, the guy is ripped to shreds by the ravenous undead. Seong-ho embraces his cold instinct for self-preservation, ignoring the man's desperate screams for help as the end draws near. Deep down, a stone-cold killer like him knew some people in this new world simply didn't deserve a second chance. Let's break down Sora's murderer system, a brutal mechanic introduced 3 months after the game's official launch. It aimed to stop griefers, but the execution was straight garbage. Your first kill only netted you a slap on the wrist warning. Devs were terrified of losing their player base, so the game only started dealing out real punishment after the third kill. Eventually, any killer was branded a murderer. On the second offense, the system would analyze the intent behind the player's actions. It would judge their level of involvement, though some still manipulated the system. So why would anyone choose this path? Simple money, massive stat boosts, and even plundering skills from others. The unique abilities made greed almost impossible to resist. These perks turned a standard survival sim into a cutthroat battlefield for the power-hungry. It was a playground for psychopaths, but being a labeled murderer came with a heavy, dangerous price tag. Killers were forced to keep slaying, eventually triggering a death field. This barrier would lock down whenever 3 or more players gathered. Once the barrier rose, it was a fight to the bitter end. While Bro's squad was busy messing around nearby, they proceeded to absolutely demolish the murderer. Now, you're probably thinking, isn't the killer at an advantage? Actually, no, because the late game was crawling with elite veterans. Any low-level griefer would be instantly deleted by a high-tier player. After turning into a murderer, you're supposed to feel a haunting, distinct heartbeat, but Seong-ho feels absolutely nothing. His theory was spot on. The system hasn't flagged him because the tutorial hasn't officially begun. This gives Seong-ho a free pass to massacre anyone for the next few hours. He quickly shakes off the thought, knowing that going full psycho would be pure insanity. Rather than losing his mind, he focuses on his endgame. Since the very beginning, his priority hasn't shifted fight fire with fire. He's essentially adopting Lelouch's destroy evil with a greater evil philosophy. Tossing his gear into the gate, Seong-ho makes one thing clear. He only draws blood when his principles demand it. Flash forward to 4 p.m., where he's scouting a cluster of zombies near a warehouse. They're stubbornly lingering in one spot, drawn by the sound of survivors bickering inside. Two groups are trading threats, though leaving means facing the undead horde. One guy slams the other group, calling them absolute morons for expecting his crew to just walk out. A punk in a red hoodie acts like a big shot, but he's such a coward that even Walmart Higuruma doubts he can aim. Triggered, the guy lets a crossbow bolt fly, bragging about his pro-tier marksmanship skills from the game. Hilariously, the shot actually connects with the other guy's shoulder, sending him into a fit of agonizing screams. The shooter gloats about his ruthlessness, claiming the apocalypse is strictly for the survival of the fittest. He demands they vanish immediately, or taste more steel. With no choice left, the trio begrudgingly prepares to leave. The thugs hurl insults as the survivors head for the exit, but these three have a little parting gift planned. They slam the doors, creating a massive racket to draw the entire horde toward those arrogant pricks. After terrifying the idiots, the group vanishes into the night. From the shadows, Seong-ho silently watches them escape. Stunned by this wild plot twist, our MC is so hyped he's ready to drop a legendary gift if their paths ever cross again. Switching back to our boy, the massive loot grind is finally wrapped. Aside from his crib and the industrial zone, just 1 hour remains before the tutorial clock hits 0. Seong-ho weighs his options for the first move, opting to flip the script. He slips into the other world for the endgame. Think about it. Where is the endgame? Absolute highest zombie density in the entire game. That is right, it is none other than the ultimate buffet for the undead. Basically superstores and local groceries. Most players steer clear of these death traps, but seasoned vets with thousands of hours play by different rules. Like our boy dousing the lot in gasoline despite the early game gear shortage. He is hungry for that level grind. Bro is literally about to nuke as many walkers as possible, hitting level 10 before the tutorial drops. He unlocks the shop, but reality hits hard after the cleanup. Once the iron wire plague ignites, this whole sector will be oil slicked anyway, so maybe he overspent his resources. But Seong-ho isn't sweating the cost. Dingo is going to love this, and there is still plenty of time. On the clock, our boy gives the best doggo some head pats, signaling him to execute the drill they practiced. With one signal, Dingo blurs into a sprint. Those flesh-starved ghouls are too busy feeding to spot a furry missile shredding through them. Dingo weaves through the horde with zero effort, pure agility. The pup kicks the door wide, baiting the entire ravenous pack into a frantic chase. Seong-ho is impressed. The boy is a natural. With the horde lured, Dingo dives back through the portal, while Seong-ho flicks his lighter for the grand finale. The zombies freeze as the flame hits. The gas-soaked ground, vaporizing everything. W for Dingo. That massive multi-kill boosts him to level 11, earning 116 points and a fresh dimensional slot ability for his trait build. By sundown, the market and towers are picked clean. He even drops a portal mid-road. Fully aware these structures are slated for total destruction once he crosses over. Trading his useless bike for survival, Seong-ho swaps to a zero-metal loadout, donning a fiber weave vest and tactical helmet. He hits his training grounds a kilometer out. Gear-ready prep finished. The final look is solid. And honestly, Seong-ho does not even miss the zippers or buckles. 3 minutes until the world ends, and a chilling dread sinks in. He knows the portal only takes him and his gear, and his breakdown confirms the worst. Both the spores and the iron wire plague are airborne nightmares. Spores drop humans, while the iron wire disease disintegrates everything metal. Total danger. Seong-ho stands ready in the remote training field, surrounded by wooden dummies. Panic is useless now. Even if his gear fails, his only move is to outrun the apocalypse. Shaking, Seong-ho locks in and reopens the gate. 3 seconds. The iron wire plague hits the nation. Instantly, everything is erased. Everything. Concrete turns to ash, skyscrapers collapse, and towers are shredded. This metallic virus is why civilization stayed dead. Humanity crumbled in the blink of an eye. From the portal, Seong-ho watches humanity reset to the Stone Age. Hope is gone. Watching the world burn in real time is pure nightmare fuel. Could you guys survive this? Drop a comment. A massive blast rocks the earth. An ammo dump maybe. Then he remembers his priority. Those iron beads need to be safe. Fortunately, they are intact. But the relief is short-lived. This situation is anything but. Okay, our boy shuts the portal, killing his emotions to stick to the mission and focus on prep. That was the plan until he reached the shelter and got blindsided. Tiny beetles are buzzing with hype waiting for him. They are back to steal again, but Seong-ho just rolls with it, accepting the route they are offering. Is this an apology? The beetle nods down for a fair trade despite Seong-ho's spicy attitude toward these cuties. Their eyes are still glowing with pure fascination. They are so adorable, it actually makes Seong-ho's cold heart melt. He pitches a deal, explaining he wants rare items instead of food. He figured their bug brains couldn't possibly understand. I mean, even if these beetles are smart, real communication should be impossible, right? Well, things are about to get wild. Out of nowhere, the red beetle grabs a stick and starts writing in the dirt. Seong-ho's jaw literally hits the floor. The bug is literally proposing a trade-off for jelly. He is totally down and tries to grab the loot immediately. But the little guy slaps his hand away. Don't be greedy, bro. Now, like two criminal masterminds, they start plotting. After some back and forth, the beetle agrees. Even the system chimes in, confirming the trade agreement is officially in motion. Suddenly, a formal contract prompt pops up. This caught him off guard since things with his dog were way more casual. It hits him then, high-intellect creatures aren't just pets you can own. You have to treat them like actual partners. The contract is insane, listing names and ironclad terms. Honestly, these insects probably graduated top of their class at Harvard Law. With nothing to lose, our boy signs. Only after the ink dries does the system classify these beetles as his possessions. Seong-ho is still processing the madness while the beetles prepare to head out and fetch his new loot. He sprints back to storage, grabbing a massive haul of treats for his legendary new companions. He hands over the sweet potato jelly as a massive signing bonus. The beetles go absolutely feral with joy. After vibing with his new bug squad, Seong-ho tells them to feast up and return with even better treasures. He switches to a hilariously menacing tone, warning them he will hunt them to the world's end if they ever backstab him. But the chill vibes end here. The brutal tutorial phase is finally beginning, casting a dark shadow over everything. Seong-ho starts crunching the numbers, making every second count as he prepares for the absolute chaos ahead. He stockpiles supplies fast. The loot from his enemies is top tier, including a ceramic blade that is immune to the infection. Hunting other survivors isn't his style yet, but in this world, he will do whatever it takes to stay alive. Survival is first a thorough sweep of the base. Once his haul is secured, Seong-ho grabs the salvaged personal computer tower and the hard drive he liberated from the complex. He hooks them up, diving straight into the encrypted data. The very first thing that catches his eye is a massive trove of media files. But just as he is finishing up, he stumbles upon a web page that leaves him completely floored. Staring back at him is Mi Kyung, a full-blown idol in her modeling shots. Honestly, her visuals were always on another level compared to the locals. It makes sense that she had a secret life. Yet Seong-ho hits the delete key, choosing to erase the file for good. He treasures the genuine moments they shared far more than some digital ghost. Content, our protagonist turns his attention to his level 10 rewards. Shop window. With a quick command, a glowing sapphire screen manifests overflowing with high-tier loot. The user interface is a perfect mirror of the game he knows, but the price tags, they have definitely seen an adjustment. He pulls the trigger on items 6 and 11. Instantly, they materialize from the ether, working exactly as they did in the virtual world. This gives him an idea. Could the same game-breaking exploits from the tutorial phase work here in reality? Before testing that, he checks out his newest skill, Dimensional Slot. It is essentially a specialized inventory, granting him instant access to specific gear on the fly. Think of it as 5 hotkeys for reality. As Seong-ho calls them forth, 5 distinct structures hum into existence. The physical slots are surreal. He tests the storage and a wave of relief hits. No more lugging around a mountain of gear. He can now bypass the portal and snatch his weapons directly from these slots. With every space occupied, Seong-ho realizes just how cracked this skill is. This is the ultimate scaling tool for the endgame. Time to move. He orders Dingo to stay alert. The moment has come to finally clear the tutorial stage. Seong-ho steps back into a wasteland that looks like it was kissed by a nuclear warhead. He tries leaning on his perception and terrain sensing, but the interference is too strong. He reaches into slot 3, pulling out a critical survival item. Without this, he would be stumbling blind in the dark. He pulls out the Shade Grapes, a temporary buff for his vision. They are designed to grant perfect night vision. He pops a glowing grape, and suddenly the world shifts. His eyes ignite with a faint, eerie glow. Now the rotting husks of zombies lurking ahead are clear as day. Now for a safe zone in this nightmare. One thing about this world, it is absolutely unforgiving to its players. There are 0 hand-holding notifications for events, except for right now. The tutorial is the only warning you will get. That is because the massive tide of undead is the notification. The real puzzle, however, remains. What exactly triggers that impenetrable wall of death if even one zombie catches his scent? For now, he is a ghost slipping through the shadows undetected. But there is a second trigger, the tutorial item. To force the system's hand, Seong-ho focuses his gaze on a seemingly empty patch of ground. This is where he breaks the game. A shimmering blue fracture rips through the concrete, a literal glitch in the matrix. He grabs the weapon just as it is being generated, forcing the system to duplicate the legendary loot. It worked. He now holds a perfect clone of the Ebony Wood Club, a weapon even more lethal than its digital counterpart. The world's internal logic might be a chaotic mess of shady patch notes, but this buff, it is absolute. He stows the gear just as the guttural moans of the restless dead begin to echo through the halls. They are rioting. Without hesitation, Song-ho leaps through the window, diving headfirst into the fray to obliterate the first target. The time for stealth is over. These monsters are everywhere, and he is ready to face the storm. The tutorial is live. He remembers the victory conditions clearly. Path 1, Absolute Genocide. He begins smashing skulls with relentless precision. He carves a path of destruction intending to wipe every single rotting creature from the face of the earth. Our main character is straight up pulling a John Wick, leaving nothing but carnage in his wake. But for those seeking a shortcut, the second option is to breach the zombie perimeter. He sprints toward the wall of flesh and launches himself upward. He lands a devastating blow to a zombie's chest, but his frustration grows. He wanted to speedrun this like Togong and Ori. Fate had other plans. No matter though, Seong-ho is a master strategist at heart. His real plan, sprint straight to the boss's lair and crush its skull before it can even blink. And he is moving now. Not a single second is wasted as he bolts through the ruins. He knows exactly where his target is hiding. Even here, the hidden checkpoint system is active. He navigates the perimeter, baiting the system to react. The boss should be materializing any second. The only issue pinpointing its exact location in this real-world hellscape. Time is ticking, as his invisibility expires. Seong-ho needs to pinpoint that landmark before it's too late. Mapping the 3-kilometer radius from his start point, he nimbly weaves through the ravenous undead. Darting toward a zombie-free zone, he finally dives inside just as his stealth buff vanishes into thin air. This sanctuary is safe from the reaching claws of the horde. Now he waits for the boss's arrival. But first, he scales the building. He needs to scout exactly what kind of mutated freak he's fighting. Deep in thought, he suddenly spots a figure on the stairs. Both freeze it is none other than Mi-kyung. Mi-kyung reveals the rest of the party survived, but Song-ho is stunned. She ventured this deep alone. She explains they followed the guidebook strictly. It was Kyung-hoon's call to keep the group together, but a massive horde ruined everything. That toxic troll ignored the guides and led the zombies right here. Trapped because of an absolute idiot, a frustrated Seong-ho gives Mi-kyung some blunt survival advice. Hiding his awakened status is getting harder. He warns her of the impending boss, leaving her absolutely terrified. She suspects he's a professional hunter, but our guy plays it off like he was just cornered. She drops the subject as Song-ho explains that killing the boss will force the horde to scatter. Once the wall breaks, their aggression dies. As the legendary gimbap lover Seong-ho himself once posted, surviving after the boss falls marks the tutorial's end. He warns her the monster is appearing any second now. Right then, electricity surges through a corpse. Mi-kyung gasps as grotesque tentacles erupt from the zombie's body. Seong-ho watches her carefully. These enhanced variants carry a terrifying hidden ability. They seal human traits. These monsters wear crowns that lock your powers. Trembling Mi-kyung summons her status window, fearing the worst. Her special ability is completely grayed out. Even our protagonist feels his own powers flicker and die. He asks if she still trusts him. Mi-kyung nods instantly, remembering every time he saved her life. Luckily, she brought every essential item he requested. With the gear ready, the counteroffensive begins. Seong-ho orders her to stay on the roof and bait the horde. As for the main event, he's taking the boss head-on. He looks like a total badass, but inside his nerves are screaming. Stepping into the carnage, the pressure is real. This boss's trait-sealing aura is a nightmare to handle. Trapped between minions and a debuffing monster, he's in a serious jam, exactly what he expected from this. In the game, early traits didn't exist, so the seal was useless. Our strategist realized he'd gotten cocky. He regretted not equipping his bow sooner. But the second that thought crossed his mind, the bow materialized in his hand. It seemed his hidden traits were bypassing the seal after all. Since he outleveled the beast, the seal was imperfect. His quick slots were his only edge in battle. He unsheathed his shield and notched an arrow. If this boss is low tier, the loot will be trash. This much effort for 0 rewards feels like a scam. But honestly, it doesn't even matter anymore. Insert Linkin Park vibes here. Up top, Mi-kyung starts screaming her lungs out, pulling the horde's aggro. She ignites a flare to sell the distraction. Song-ho is genuinely impressed by her flawless execution. She's performing better than expected. With the opening, Song-ho draws his bowstring, dumping points into power. The loss was gone. With a smirk at the zombie, he looses an arrow that shreds the air. The projectile becomes a blur of death, skewering the monster's flesh with terrifying lethal precision. The beast howls in agony. One shot wasn't enough, so Seong-ho dives in to finish his hunt. He hammers his shield down, pinning the monster to the pavement. There is absolutely no escape now. He raises his weapon and crushes the creature's skull like a melon. The boss is officially dead. The seal breaks and his traits return. No skills dropped, so he frantically scavenges for any loot. He scores a rotten bracelet for a perception boost, but wait, there are two of them. It's likely because of Mikyung, who sprints over after wiping out the zombies with her own traits. He realizes these aren't boss drops, they are rewards for every player who cleared the tutorial together. The boss was just the trigger. With 17 fresh points banked, Seong-ho feels the power surge. It's all thanks to the latest patch. He offers her the bracelet, but she modestly tries to decline. He insists, however. Gently binding her hand, he credits their success entirely to her. Eyes crinkling with warmth, Seong-ho suggests hitting the gym next. Mi-kyung spots the tilting structure. Seong-ho recalls video intel saying 5 floors should be safe. It's not falling yet, but time is bleeding. A collapse could happen any second. Mi-kyung plans to alert the owner later. Our protagonist shifts focus to the lethal game system. Suddenly, a familiar face appears. It's the absolute unit and gym legend, Hyung-jun. Relief washes over them. Neither has turned yet. Hyung-jun waves them inside for a debrief. Ready to update the squad, Seong-ho drops the bombshell about taking down the boss. Faces go pale with shock, but he stays humble, hyping up Mi-kyung's vital support. She baited the horde. Still, soloing a boss is straight-up legendary behavior. Strangely, no tutorial loot dropped for the crew besides their basic starter gear. The gym bro mentions the lack of safe zones. Every corner was infested with rot. Our hero ponders, does the tutorial scale based on the player's hidden potential? Rewards seem tied to specific feats. He asks if they gained points beyond just slaying. Saving Yoo-hyun's life earned Hyung-jun a nice point bonus. Seong-ho realizes points aren't just for killing support and evasion play a huge role. Mi-kyung notes that non-combatants have a clear path to survival now. The gym bro then tackles the big question. What exactly is Seong-ho's unique trait? Everyone got a perk. Now that the world is a literal game, everyone is awakening. Seong-ho's early access trait was a massive head start in this new reality. It's a one-of-a-kind edge. The blurring lines between game and life are dizzying. Old game knowledge is becoming obsolete. Reality is shifting too fast to predict. He looks to Mi-kyung, who also managed to snag a rare tutorial item. Hyung-jun admits he's a physical powerhouse, a classic tank build for a meathead. Yoo-hyun's doll-making past translates into a unique doll manipulation skill. Mi-kyung's got blink. Now all eyes are on our boy to spill his secrets. He's reluctant to reveal his ace, but lying might cause more trouble later. He weighs their reactions. Meanwhile, Mi-kyung tries to distract Hyung-jun. Seong-ho decides to keep his cards close until he's with his ultimate inner circle. Those are the people he'd trust with his life in this changing world. He goes for a bold bluff. His skill is called Attack Prediction. Yoo-hyun is hyped an anti-ambush skill is OP, but our hero plays it down. He describes seeing after-images of strikes, then quickly shifts to their next objective. The coach wants a group huddle, but surviving and leveling up are his main goals. Seong-ho's pre-apocalypse tips about shops and facility unlocks are now gold. Hyung-jun prioritizes growth. After that, those who touched Mi-kyung are dead men. Seeing his friend fired up confirms that sharing the intel was the right call. Yoo-hyun interrupts, asking about Seong-ho's level, a loaded question in this world. He's curious because soloing a tutorial boss is an insane feat. He figures Seong-ho's been grinding zombie kills since the very first minute. As he analyzes the situation, Hyung-jun playfully puts him in a brutal sleeper hold. It seems Mi-kyung and the gym bro are intentionally creating a smokescreen for him. Seong-ho realizes they're shielding him, even if Hyung-jun nearly chokes the kid out. Meeting's over. Our hero preps for a solo run when his bro offers some snacks. Yoo-hyun's custom binoculars are top tier. Hyung-jun hides the real reason for his divorce. Believe it or not, this gym-obsessed meathead actually dumped his girl just to protect his precious muscle gains. He'd fake every meal with his wife, terrified that a single bite might ruin his shredded lean physique. This legendary gym bro literally traded his marriage for the squat rack, becoming a prime example of toxic obsession. Seong-ho advises him to be honest, but he's already bracing for their inevitable awkward reactions. Our boy is starting to realize that both his friends can see right through his web of lies. As Hyung-jun turns away, Seong-ho grips his arm, promising they'll fight together once their power levels align. With that heavy closure, he pledges to survive alongside them as they gain more combat experience. Seong-ho distances himself once more, promising his comrades he'll return after handling his solo business. Shoveling through the drifts, Seong-ho can't believe the freezing frost has arrived during the summer heat. Bro is fed up with these climate glitches, but at least his bunker is fully stocked with supplies. Without those resources, he'd be finished, but his defensive perimeter is actually looking stronger than ever. Sharp ice shards have accidentally reinforced his base, meaning no goblins will be testing their luck tonight. His original moat plan is scrapped because the ground has transformed into impenetrable frozen steel. Now he must reorganize his current situation and adapt his survival strategy for the coming winter. Looking back, survival life was always meant to be a brutal winner-takes-all test of endurance. Players can only equip 5 items and 10 skills, making every inventory slot a matter of life. If you exceed the limit, your oldest skill is deleted forever, and that is the absolute worst part. To survive, you had to become a ruthless predator, doing anything to stay atop the food chain. But reality is glitching. Variables like Mi-kyung's arrival and missing checkpoints don't fit the game's code. Seong-ho suspects a stealth patch dropped while he was offline, leaving him to navigate this world blind. This raises a major question. How should Seong-ho manage his strategy when the rules keep shifting? For now, his core mission remains: stockpile resources, hunt for elite skills, and survive the apocalypse. He decides to double down on what he does best, grinding harder to stay ahead of everyone. He maps a journey to the otherworld forest to secure the valley and exterminate the lethal owlbears. In the real world, he'll farm fireworks zones while keeping a lethal eye on the villa party. The sheer volume of work makes his brain melt, but he can't afford to be overwhelmed now. Seong-ho decides to stay fluid. The moment midnight hits, he's heading to Gwangali to start the grind. He readies his weapons, focusing on the simple mission ahead, while the city sleeps in chaos. Elsewhere, two thugs are busy bullying a subordinate just because he can't even open a food can. The leader goes to strike him, but his girl suggests they grab a drink to celebrate instead. However, this man is paralyzed by fear, terrified that Seong-ho survived and unlocked a powerful awakening. His primary goal is to kill our boy immediately, unaware that his target is currently eavesdropping nearby. Realizing this dude is dangerously obsessed, Seong-ho wonders if he should just burn their hideout down. There's no room for mercy anymore, even if taking action puts his own life at risk. He exposes himself to the punks who immediately aim their weapons at him in a total panic. They can't fathom why he's out so late, but Seong-ho knows the night is safer for him. You can move freely if you avoid creepers at dawn, but the thug mocks his rookie logic. He claims zombies only spawn for level 7 players, thinking they're safe since he's only level 5. Our boy praises his intel, but drops a bombshell. Everything In-hyuk told him was a lethal lie. While the thug stands there confused, Seong-ho strikes with a terrifying revelation of his own strategy. He isn't here for fireworks, he's here to raid their hideout and end their little reign of terror. The leader thinks he's gone insane and orders an attack, but a bone-chilling sound stops them cold. A Keeper-class monstrosity is hunting them. Baiting the thugs, Seong-ho disappears as they give chase. One idiot uses a speed buff, confident he can catch him, but he's charging into a trap. The impact is so sudden that his nose shatters instantly against an invisible portal. He faceplants into the dirt. The rest of the pack doesn't even blink, staying hot on Seong-ho's trail. Meanwhile, the Keeper guts that man instantly. The survivors scatter, diving in opposite directions to escape the slaughter. Suddenly, the woman stumbles right into a volatile bonehead creeper about to detonate. Unfortunately, her luck just ran out. She's vaporized into a million scraps. With these constant explosions, I'm waiting for Michael Bay to show up. The impact drops the arrogant brat to his knees. He's groveling now, clueless about where everything went wrong. The Keeper prepares to feast, but the guy finds a spark of grit, smashing his weapon into its skull. The beast's neck barely flinches. That strike did 0 damage. It's officially game over for this loser. The nightmare unhinges its massive jaws. Seeing that horrific maw, the pitiful punk gives up and accepts his end. Chomp. That's the end of that trash. Talk about poetic justice. Right on cue, our boy arrives, rifle ready. Seong-ho lines up the shot through his portal, ready to deliver the final blow, and pulls the trigger. The bullet tears through the monster's back. It only staggers, proving this beast is just built different. Even his ammo is losing its bite from the plague. Still, a hit is a hit. It's definitely feeling the sting. Seong-ho hammers the beast with a barrage of rifle fire, relentlessly pumping lead until it finally drops dead. With both targets down, he hits level 12, nets 20 points, and reclaims that sweet terrain detection skill. Even with an indirect kill, the intent remains the same for Seong-ho. The moral burden doesn't get any lighter. Cheol-chun is officially history. Seong-ho loots his gear, leaves the trash behind, and doesn't look back. Following that mess, the day's grind went smoothly. Next, Seong-ho breaks into Cheol-chun's secret stash. He wasn't expecting a jackpot, but the guy actually had a mountain of gear for the auction house. Honestly, Cheol-chun was on borrowed time anyway. If the Gwangali incident didn't get him, something else would. With his pup's help, Seong-ho secures the festival fireworks, ghosting past every monster in his path. Thanks to his high level, those dormant zombies are easy pickings, free real estate for earning more points. The grind is paying off. In just one night, Seong-ho hits level 14. He's making serious moves. But there's a catch. After wrapping up his 7 p.m. farm, a massive problem finally dawns on him. Hauling supplies from that hideout is a nightmare, and the heavy snow has our boy completely stuck. He can't even stash them in his gate. One accidental spark in there, and everything goes up in smoke. The entire shelter would just vanish. Even going underground brings its own set of lethal headaches. Keeping them here is the only safe bet. Now he's planning to head toward the villa district. He needs to check on Soo-yeon's condition while scoping out Kyung-jun's old hideout on the side. Suddenly, the sound of rain draws his attention. He peeks outside, wondering what kind of glitch this is. A massive typhoon slams the real world for 2 whole days, letting Seong-ho slip back into the other world. He's back to finish his moat, but quickly realizes that one wrong move could be his last. A grueling day vanishes in the freezing cold. By the time the moat is finished, he's absolutely exhausted. He's done with working, but thankfully, the weather warms up, melting those jagged ice fragments away. Peace at last, the bone-chilling frost breaks replaced by sunshine and a rhythm that isn't deadly. Back home, tornadoes are shredding the city. For the Awakeners in the real-world, movement is impossible. Everyone else is pinned down, giving Seong-ho the ultimate head start on his next big move. Diving deep into the woods, he realizes guns are the absolute cheat code in this survival game. They only unlock after the Metal Plague phase, making them a rare late-game power spike for him. Suddenly, Dingo senses something and bolts right, leading our boy straight to a massive owlbear. Chilling by the lake, the beast is oblivious. Having this guide makes navigation a total breeze for Seong-ho. Between his dog and his boosted sensing stats, Seong-ho's perception is reaching a whole new level. He's scanning the area like a pro when the owlbear suddenly thrashes the water violently. It's just fishing for a snack, totally unaware that our boy is watching from the shadows. With 15 rounds left, Seong-ho prepares for his deadliest hunt. This thing makes keepers look like puppies. Even with full power bullets in this world, he'll need a perfect barrage to bring this titan down. Only 7 bullets left. With no resupply in sight, Seong-ho needs every shot to be a masterpiece of precision. He pulls the trigger, and the first round staggers the beast's neck, sparking a gaze of pure murderous intent. The monster glares at the trees, but the shadows are empty. Seong-ho has already vanished to his next ambush point. 2 more rounds fly. One shatters the owlbear's left shoulder, while the other pierces deep into its right leg. The predator howls in agony. Finally, the beast is crippled enough for Seong-ho to face it at eye level. 2 hunters lock eyes. Seong-ho goads the feathered freak, and the enraged monster charges like a runaway freight train. Chanting his slot numbers, Seong-ho summons his gear. He grips a lighter, readying the fireworks for a flashy finale. He pitches the explosive like a perfect strike, instantly calling his shield from the inventory to tank the blow. Just as the owlbear's claws descend, the firework detonates. The blinding flash completely hijacks the creature's focus. Piercing white light engulfs the predator's face. Within inches, the explosion leaves the beast stumbling in total darkness. This is the Seong-ho special for high-level prey. Seizing the opening, he activates slot 4 for the final play. He lunges for the kill with a melee driver. With ice-cold eyes, he declares the beast's reign of terror over. A brutal, agonizing stab silences the owlbear forever. The fierce predator falls, netting him 25 hard-earned points. Ding, level 15 reached. Seong-ho unlocks soundless movement and expands his dimensional slots for more carrying power. The battle leaves him drained. While catching his breath, our boy starts dissecting the details of his new skill. Honestly, the XP feels mid for such a life-or-death struggle, but there is one silver lining. Those owlbear claws are prime weapon material. Accessing slot 5, Seong-ho goes full chainsaw man on the carcass. He dives into the grisly work, harvesting every valuable resource from the creature's remains after that intense workout. Bro savors the premium meat, enjoying the top-tier taste. Even Bingo has crushed 5 pieces and still looks hungry. He tosses a fish to the little rascal. He is itching for this cute fluffball to level up for tag team combos, maybe even some solo hunting. To his surprise, Seong-ho notices the furball has actually noticeably bulked up already. Belly's full, the squad hits the road. Seong-ho is hyped to test his new level 15 auction house skill. The interface is clean, but the 10% flat fee for listing or retrieving items is a total highway robbery. It was only 5% in the game, so this is a major scam. He taps retrieve and freezes. A shocking discovery, someone beat him to it. There is a monster out there who hit level 15 before him. Seong-ho keeps his cool. He knows some Awakeners are just born with cracked combat traits. Seeing high-level combatants is expected. After all, our boy's gate skill is focused on utility, not raw destruction. Curious about the competition, Seong-ho dives into the comments section of the listed item to investigate. The owner sounds tilted, complaining they leveled up too fast. They are even using a note to bully world keepers. Just from the aggressive typing style alone, Seong-ho has a legendary hunch about who this mystery player is. Staying anonymous is a power move. Plenty of trolls use voice changers to catfish, hiding their true identities behind avatars. Only the global chat exposes real IDs. Without that, players can stay off the grid forever. The veteran player base is a wild card. They definitely do not follow the developer's scripted path. The fact that this seller signed off with XS confirms they are a massive attention seeker. This person clearly lives for the spotlight and craves absolute attention. Seong-ho keeps it low-key, sending a simple voice greeting. The stranger snaps back instantly, demanding his identity. The attitude is identical to the game. Our boy's target reveals his legendary gamertag, Gimba Plover. Seong-ho waits tensely for a reply, expecting the other player to be suspicious of his sudden return. The guy laughs, then goes absolutely nuclear on him for being MIA for so long. Talk about a warm welcome. He assumes Seong-ho is working for the president, but the truth is, he is flying totally solo. Everyone thought he was the nation's savior distributing info flyers. Seong-ho realizes someone else is feeding the government intel. Clearly, another veteran is leaking game secrets. By the way, this mystery guy is revealed to be absolutely shredded. In this world, exposing your traits is a death sentence. It is honestly hilarious. This jacked beast goes by the name Rabbit Princess. Surprisingly, he is actually willing to share his secret trait. Since they will be teaming up soon, he shows his hand. The trait's name, Resurrection. Turns out he's spamming his abilities by burning points, catapulting his level straight to 17 in a flash. Armed with top-tier physical and elemental resistances, Seong-ho finds himself equally intrigued by this mysterious player. His old pal tries to dig into his hidden trait, but Seong-ho shuts him down, leaving the guy stunned. Rabbit Princess is shook, but Seong-ho makes it crystal clear trust is a luxury he can't afford. He hasn't even told his inner circle, though he clarifies that his bond with this buddy is actually legit. He prefers talking face-to-face. And surprisingly, the guy isn't salty. He totally gets where Seong-ho is coming from. As a peace offering, Rabbit Princess urges him back to the auction house. Seong-ho pulls up the interface and he spots a rare magic metal ring, a tutorial treasure the guy had been hunting for across the entire server. Just to secure it, he asks for a measly 10 points from Seong-ho. Talk about an absolute steal. Seong-ho is floored by the generosity, but the guy just wants to prove his loyalty is the real deal. After dropping his real identity, he's all in on trusting Seong-ho. These two go way back to the early days. Having cleared countless missions together, they're veteran comrades, yet this sudden kindness still catches Seong-ho off guard. Thrilled with the ring, Seong-ho decides to return the favor, listing some premium smoked trout on the market. He adds an owl bear claw to the lot. Rabbit Princess loses it, practically drooling over those perfectly cooked fillets. He smashes the accept button, stunned by the monster loot, but Seong-ho hints his trait is the secret sauce. His trait draws monsters like flies. Consider this loot a token of faith. But then Seong-ho drops a major warning. Meeting up is fine, but Seong-ho lays down the law. In reality, the man absolutely must wear clothes. And lose that cringy catchphrase before people start staring. Luckily, the guy takes the critique like a total champ. He swaps his slogan for jazz and promises to only go commando in private. Seong-ho is absolutely dying inside. Exhausted by his friend's nudist tendencies, the camera shifts focus back to the man known as Rabbit Princess. He hangs up and digs into his first real feast. Miraculously, the raging typhoon finally begins to die down. Radiant sunlight pierces through the clouds, bathing the beefy man in a glow he's certain is a divine blessing. Either that or his buddy just hit godhood. Without a second thought, Seo-kyung cannonballs straight out the window. Channeling his inner Power Ranger, he faceplants a zombie into the dirt, fueled by the hype of finally reuniting. Feeling alive for the first time in ages, he tosses the undead around like rag dolls, loving every second. One major issue, Seo-ki-hyun totally lost his way back. Turns out he's got every skill except a compass. The man's sense of direction is pure Zorro energy. Meanwhile, 3 days have vanished since the storm cleared. Over at the gym, the crew is evolving. Johan has already ground his way up to level 5. Using paper planes to deploy dolls over massive distances, he sends a message to Seong-ho about their relocation plans. Their goal, a taekwondo studio right by his place. Plus, word's out that Kyung-hoon and Bora are finally teaming up. Plot twist, Hyung-jun's grind paid off, hitting level 10 and unlocking the shop. Every time a letter arrives, Seong-ho sends back intel, guiding them toward the strategic stashes he'd cleverly prepped in advance. He launches the paper plane skyward, wishing them a smooth farming run, just like the one he's planning next. Seong-ho scrolls through the auction house, noticing that Seo-kyung has been moving pretty slow with the replies lately. The man is busy pulverizing zombies on a warpath to Busan, dominating both the virtual world and reality itself. Past level 15, the XP requirements skyrocket. Welcome to the Hell Zone, where the real grind truly begins. Progress slows to a crawl. Seong-ho opens his status window, crunching the numbers on his level-to-point ratio. To reach 16, he needs to drop 100 zombies. It's a tall order, but definitely not impossible. Pure hunting would make this a breeze, but our protagonist has much bigger fish to fry right now. 2 hours later, a masterpiece arrives at the shelter, a flawless mithril knife forged specifically for him. It's a gift from his beetle squad. They forged it themselves, and even delivered the rare ore they promised. Seong-ho scoffs, telling the tiny critters it's impossible for mere beetles to craft such a high-tier weapon. His doubt totally triggers the bugs, so he decides to trust them, but only after one final skill test. Handing over a coin, he orders them to transform it. The tiny critter snatches the gold in its mandibles. It starts gnawing away, and in seconds, a perfect miniature replica of the mithril knife is born. I'm losing my mind right now, these beetles are legit. Look at how they hone that microblade with insane precision. Even I couldn't polish a full-size sword with that much finesse. Seong-ho's critique straight up shatters their insect egos. He basically tells them their craftsmanship is complete garbage. Seeing the bugs sob, he decides to hear their side of the story. They start scratching symbols on his board to honor the contract. He's finally ready to listen to what's bugging them. The beetles grab markers and draw a scene of goblins wrecking them. No wonder they couldn't finish the job with those pests around. Seong-ho demands their exact location on the map. The leader points toward a dangerous cluster near the nest. Armed with the intel, he promises to exterminate every last one of them. Those green goblins are toast on his next run. But in return, the beetles must fulfill their end of the bargain. He expects a masterpiece once the threats are neutralized. With the contract set, Song-ho's feeling strangely generous. He might even cremate the goblin corpses for these little guys. He's got one more specialized crafting request for them, something entirely different from the usual goblin hunt. The bugs are all ears for their new boss. Seong-ho celebrates the partnership with a tiny awkward claw shake. These beetles are a literal goldmine for the future. Seong-ho keeps the grind going with Dingo by his side. The apocalypse is evolving as zombies become total tanks. But our MC isn't flinching, he's hunting for heads. He targets a walker and delivers a bone-crushing overhead strike. One hit is all it takes to turn its skull into mush. His club glows with the old tag as the horde closes in. Seong-ho doesn't retreat. He lets his fury explode. He mows down 2 more before a lurker leaps at his back. A classic sneak attack to catch him slipping. Seong-ho reads the play and winds up for a massive backswing. He knocks that zombie out of the park like a pro. Slaughtering the undead is just a boring daily chore now. His eyes are locked on his true goal, Eden Villa. With the bodies piled up, he finally spots the luxury complex. Honestly, it looks kinda mid compared to the hype. Still, it's a paradise compared to the nightmare in the city. If the world hadn't ended, he'd never be here. This place is way out of his tax bracket. But the real stressor is wondering if Soo-yeon is still breathing. Radio silence from her side, which isn't great. At least Kyung-joon and Bora are surviving as normal humans. Big news, Awakeners aren't carriers for the zombie plague. They won't accidentally infect the regular survivors. He's chill even if Soo-yeon turned into a brain eater. My man is definitely not a simp for anyone. The villa's location is what matters, it's right near the jackpot. Specifically, it's next door to Kyung-joon's secret bunker. Plus, the government's high-tech time shelter is just a stroll away. Seong-ho tells Dingo to hop on for a ride. He's scaling the broken elevator shaft like a total beast. This spot is a perfect fortress for anyone still alive. But high-tier loot means high-tier drama and conflict. He finally reaches the summit of the luxury complex. He realizes a normal human would have died of exhaustion by now. This climb was a total physical nightmare. A rope was left here on purpose, which is a major clue. It means Soo-yeon is likely the one guarding this turf. He finds her unit and gives the door a firm knock. Suddenly, an angry voice screams from the other side. Mistaking him for a threat, she checks the peephole slider. She barks a warning for him to back the hell up. She's terrified of a killer on the loose, but then she freezes. Seeing Song-ho instead of a monster leaves her speechless. Song-ho just waves and asks for his medicine payment. He's here to collect on their survival deal. Sure, a deal is a deal, but this is some high-key psycho energy. Who worries about debts during the end of the world? She thinks he's a total creep, but his weird riz actually works. She lets her guard down and invites him in. She's ready to spill the tea about the mysterious killer. Time to answer every question Seong-ho has. The second they hit the couch, the secrets start coming out. Soo-yeon begins dropping some absolutely wild lore. He's yapping so fast that Song-ho's brain is almost lagging. Let's break down her chaotic story real quick. The shelter is ground zero, surrounded by 3 different factions. First up is Party C, a group of 10 survivors. They wanted to crack the shelter open and share the loot, but the other group said no, and then things got bloody. A killer appeared out of nowhere and stabbed a survivor. Looking at the crew involved, Song-ho has a theory. He's betting Kyung-joon is the puppet master behind the killer. And as for his special ability, there's a catch. His mind control likely needs a specific proposal to activate. It's a classic RPG-style condition for his power. Just like Lelouch's eye contact in Code Geass, he needs a trigger. Meanwhile, Seong-ho plays dumb to keep Soo-yeon guessing. Determined to shield her from the chaos, Seong-ho notices a chilling pattern. The killer only strikes after a rejection. Blood has already stained Party B and Soo-yeon's ranks. The body count is rising, and the shadows are closing in. Strangely, Team C remains untouched. It raises a major red flag. Why are they forcing the time shelter open so early? While the motives are murky, Song-ho discovers Soo-yeon's secret. She possesses a rare healing trait. Her powers might only mend minor wounds for now, but in this hellscape, a top-tier support is a literal lifesaver. Grinding levels is a nightmare for supports. This realization hits hard. Team C's leader isn't a frontline brawler at all. He's an awakened with a non-combat ability, meaning he's desperate for rare materials to bridge the power gap. That's Song-ho's working theory, and honestly, Soo-yeon thinks he's hit the nail right on the head. A leader's stats don't always reflect their crew's lethality. Seong-ho suggests the group is buckling under some heavy personal burdens. These hidden pressures are forcing the leader's hand into making reckless, desperate moves. The puzzle pieces are finally clicking together. Still, one question remains. Why is Soo-yeon flying solo? Turns out she wasn't planning on farming today at all. She was actually waiting on a confession. Weird timing, right? She vents that her squad is basically a circus of idiots. No wonder she lost her temper at the door. Her teammates are the type to prioritize their needs over literal survival. Lust is their only motivator. Even our main character is caught off guard by how messy this social dynamic really is. Despite the drama, Soo-yeon insists they aren't evil, just clueless. She shifts focus, asking Seong-ho what his next move is. He's set on scouting the time shelter. It sounds like a suicide mission to her, but Seong-ho's got a plan. It's strictly a recon op. He knows the incoming zombie waves will keep the enemies scattered and distracted. With the horde closing in, the area becomes the perfect playground for a stealthy observer. Before heading out, he drops a gift. He gifts her a glowing golden stone, a high-tier shop item that puts any basic candle to shame. His rapid growth leaves her speechless. Seong-ho smirks, promising to pay back his debt to her with some serious interest. Cut to the time shelter. The leader of Party C is overseeing the purification, looking like he owns the place. His scouts report the mysterious killer has claimed another victim from Team B. The tension is palpable. Survivors are scrambling for supplies, but Team C is certain Team B's territory is about to be wiped off the map. Team A's silence is deafening. To force their hand, the leader coldly orders another execution within their ranks. They've been ghosts lately, but a scout finally spots a lead. A lone female member is on the move. It's Soo-yeon heading straight for Eden Plaza. Locking onto her, Kyung-joon activates his command ability, the order, kill her. But the ghost player remains a complete enigma. His assistant bows in shame, unable to find a single trace of Seong-ho. Kyung-joon is absolutely fuming. He knows the guy is lurking somewhere in Busan, but he's playing a lethal game of hide-and-seek. He needs to find him fast. His point gain has stagnated even while his linked members are racking up the kills. His trait has a fatal flaw. If he doesn't evolve soon, the unknown player will devour him whole. This is the same monster who mastered paralysis poison before the world even ended. He's a true apex predator. Seong-ho has left him absolutely rattled. Now he's racing to hit level 15 before the clock runs out. The auction summit is coming up and he refuses to look weak in front of other regional kings. It's all about the clout. His lackeys herd a fresh pack of zombies toward him. Kyung-joon grins, readying a Molotov for a fiery execution. The glass shatters, and in an instant, the horde is swallowed by a roaring inferno. 40 points secured. He hits level 9, but 6 more levels remain. He barks out 3 new directives. First, secure the time shelter's locking mechanism at all costs. Second, round up more zombies. He needs that experience juice, and he needs it now. And third, the one that fuels his rage, hunt down the player unknown. But while he's playing general, our boy is watching the whole meltdown from his portal, enjoying the show. Don't get too ahead of yourself, Kyung-joon. With Soo-yeon on his side, the script is about to flip. The hunter is officially becoming the prey. It goes down exactly as Soo-yeon feared. Some guy is pouring his heart out while she's fuming with rage. Who focuses on romance when a killer is literally hunting them? Talk about having zero situational awareness. This dude thinks his clairvoyance makes him untouchable. He's convinced they're safe, but Soo-yeon knows better. She calls out his recklessness. In this world, the biggest threat usually comes from the person standing right next to you. He breathed his last during a routine mission. The coward insists they're safe because the killer is in the B party zone. Honestly, she's totally done with his nonsense until the danger is actually confirmed. Dealing with him is just a chore. Desperate to stay close, the guy literally begs to be her boyfriend. And well, absolute ick for Soo-yeon. She shuts him down instantly, but this dude's obsession is becoming straight up creepy. Suddenly, a sharp pain flares like his name was just inked in a death note. Soo-yeon freezes. The predator is here. This guy's trash clairvoyance failed again. They're sitting ducks unless they move, and they need to move now. The killer possesses a lethal life-tracking skill, making every second in the plaza a death sentence. They need to vanish. Desperate to not be useless, he tries tracking the killer's location before the deathmatch field forces their hand. Too late. The game is already over. The shadow with the blade is already closing the distance. Soo-yeon relentlessly roasts him for being a walking disaster, blaming his pathetic luck for this nightmare. But a chilling realization hits them. They've finally identified a crucial game-changing detail. The killer is rocking the C-Team uniform. He ignites a domain expansion, locking them inside a lethal death field. Trapped with 0 combat stats, they need a hiding spot immediately, or it's game over for everyone. This killer is a pure combat specialist. Soo-yeon snaps at him for forgetting that killers can't sprint early on. Hiding is their only play, and Soo-yeon has a strategy. She orders him to ready an anti-iron death flashlight. If her gamble pays off, her savior will arrive. But for now, the monster lunges with a serrated blade. The killer slashes for her throat, but Soo-yeon is a total badass, weaving through the first strike with ease. She seizes the opening, detonating the flashlight and searing the killer's retinas with blinding light. He's dazed, but Soo-yeon gets a bit too hyped and forgets the most important rule: run for your life. Fatal mistake. A heavy fist connects, sending her spiraling through the air like a ragdoll. She slams into the ground, coughing up crimson. The realization of her arrogance tastes more bitter than the blood. As death looms, she pleads for help from the boyfriend, but the spineless rat is already gone. He flees like a coward, making Soo-yeon eternally grateful she swiped left on his pathetic confession. Watching him run, she feels her life slipping away as the cold steel inches closer to her neck. The blade rises to end her, but a familiar voice breaks the silence. Seong-ho asks why the closed eyes. Our hero enters the fray, parrying the blade. He follows up with a devastating gut-shattering kick to the murderer, giving him a taste of his own medicine. Soo-yeon watches in awe as Seong-ho extends a hand to her. Don't think about dying yet. Later, as she patches up, they confirm the C-team leader is a manipulative psychic. That brainwashing power is the only reason his squad follows him with such terrifying, mindless loyalty. Her wounds begin to knit back together. Seong-ho coldly mentions the coward who ran ended up as mere monster bait. She starts to mourn Han-song, but he shuts it down. Don't waste tears on someone so meaningless. They're real nightmare. This killer has insane regeneration. He's a tank that simply won't stay down. Soo-yeon searches for a solution, but Seong-ho knows the truth. Death matches always end in a final, brutal showdown. Even if the barrier drops, a tide of zombies will swarm the exits, turning the plaza into a tomb. However, Seong-ho spotted an interesting bug. That's why he brought her all the way to this specific spot. A sky bridge connects the towers. Just like before, the killer's bloodlust is reaching a boiling point. His eyes burn with a crimson thirst as the death field constricts, signaling the climax of his hunger. At the peak of that frenzy, a crack will form in the barrier. One chance to escape. One moment. Seong-ho gives the order the second he signals she needs to bolt through that gap and never look back. Her survival is guaranteed, but she hesitates. How can he survive against that monster all by himself? He has no choice. Every killer possesses a variable stopper skill, and Seong-ho needs to put this one down permanently. Step 1. Trigger the bug. If they stay trapped, their entire plan turns to ash. He sends Soo-yeon to the 3rd floor, while he prepares for a one-on-one showdown in the lobby. His heart thunders in his chest, a rhythmic warning as the killer's presence draws closer and closer. The predator is finally here, and Seong-ho is more than ready to tear him apart. He scans the room, dead silence. Suddenly, a lethal strike blindsides him out of nowhere. Seong-ho barely intercepts with his shield. Turns out the killer's cracked ability is wall phasing. There's nowhere left to hide. Seong-ho's final high-stakes showdown with the assassin begins.